Chapter 28:14. One day later. Cameron and the other primordial fiends had gone to sweep through the Middle Hells to capture able-bodied men, only to be defeated by a fiend from one of the Middle Hells. The news spread like wildfire throughout the Hell of the Green Lotus, and many other fiend factions learned of it. No matter how you looked at it, Cameron had been Felipe's trusted general, and he'd brought his elite troops with him. But now he'd fallen. It could be said that Cameron's death had dealt a heavy blow to Felipe's forces, putting him at a disadvantage in the struggle for control of the Hell of the Green Lotus. Ha, stupid Carmelo, I've long since seen that guy as an eyesore. He's always pretending to be a decent person, relying on the power of the invincible demon Felipe to commit all sorts of evil deeds, looking down on demons everywhere. Now he's been killed by other fiends and he can't even escape. This is retribution. One of the fiends laughed heartily when he heard the news. He felt like he'd finally gotten his revenge. I wonder what Felipe's expression will be like when he learns of this. His trusted general has died. If he doesn't get revenge, he'll lose all his face. Some of the fiends were gloating. He's definitely going to send an army. If Felipe doesn't get revenge, he'll lose all his face. But what's the origin of the burning hell? How could it be so terrifying? Even Cameron and the other primordial fiends died there. Some of the fiends were curious about the burning hell. I'm not sure. I've asked the fiends who are very familiar with the Hell of the Green Lotus, but none of them know where it came from. It seems to have appeared out of nowhere. Actually, that's normal. There are just too many Middle Hells. They're like the stars in the sky. Even the most familiar fiends can't know every Middle Hells like the back of their hands. But isn't this burning hell a bit too terrifying? It's just a Middle Hells. Normally speaking, a Hells like this can only give birth to primordial fiends. But now it's even giving birth to a primordial fiend. Is there something special about the burning hell? There must be something special about it. Take the Green Lotus Hell for example. All of the high-level demons have clearly fled, and it's fated to be devoured by the void monsters and disappear from this hell. But who would have thought that the group of void monsters that entered the Hell of the Green Lotus would all die? Their flesh, blood, essence and origin would fuse with the Hell of the Green Lotus and promote the evolution of the Hell of the Green Lotus. The word fate is simply too wonderful for words. It can only be said that the Hell of Green Lotus is hiding a great secret. Otherwise, something like this would not have happened. From the looks of it, it's not just the Hell of the Green Lotus that has a great secret. Many of the medium hell planes around it might also have a great secret. Looks like coming to the Hell of the Green Lotus was the right decision. If I can find some secrets, I might be able to advance to the Demon God stage. Then should we go to the burning hell to take a look and probe its secrets? Don't act rashly. It seems that Felipe intends to mobilize his army. Don't recklessly confront Felipe. After all, when Felipe is in a rage, he is not someone to be trifled with. We can only wait and see. Many demons discussed among themselves. They were all extremely curious about the burning hell, this medium hell plane. At the same time, they were also slightly fearful of it. They wanted to wait and see. After all, the power that could bury the immemorial demon Camaro and his demon army was not to be underestimated. At this time, somewhere in the Hell of the Green Lotus, it was the castle where the invincible demon Felipe was. At this moment, the ancient demon had already run back from the burning hell. He came before the invincible demon Felipe and reported everything that had happened. What did you say? After listening to the ancient demon's report, the invincible demon Felipe's eyes widened. He roared angrily, "That lord of the burning hell, Feng Du, is so arrogant. He killed all the demons except for you. Is it because he wanted you to come back and inform me so that I would know that Feng Du was the one who did this?" He was so angry that he was about to explode. He was not even this angry. After all, he was the invincible demon Felipe. He controlled an army of hundreds of millions of demons. He had unparalleled battle strength. Even a slight breath was enough to cause the Hell of the Green Lotus to catch a cold for 3 days. Countless forces were shocked. Who knew how many demons would tremble when they heard Felipe's name, not daring to move? But this lord of the burning hell, Feng Du, not only was he not afraid of him, he seemed to be afraid that he did not know that this kid was the one who did this. He had killed most of the demons, leaving only one alive. His goal was to inform him of this matter. How rampant and insolent was this kind of behavior? He had never seen such an arrogant demon in his life. That's right. That demon Feng Du is arrogant and despotic. He doesn't care about you at all. That kid is easy to deal with. If you still dare to invade, you will even kill the king. His head will be hung on the city gate for 3 years. If I didn't endure humiliation and go through fire to tell Lord Felipe about this matter, I would have killed myself on the city wall. The ancient demon cried bitterly and added fuel to the fire. At the same time he also expressed his loyalty. Fengdu. The invincible demon Felipe said angrily, "Insolent brat, you still want to cut off my head? I'll send my army to the border and burn the hell. I want to see how this brat will cut off my head." He was infuriated to the extreme. He had never seen a demon provoke him like this in his life. This was the first time Devil Fengdu had done so. He yearned to tear the punk into pieces. But Lord Felipe, that Devil Fengdu is very sinister. You need to reconsider. The ancient demon was a little traumatized. He did not wish to provoke the terrifying Devil Fengdu. Shut up. Invincible demon Felipe roared. Reconsider? Since when do I, grim demon Felipe, need to think thrice? Who in the entire hell void can kill me, invincible demon Felipe? What a joke. I'll kill him now. Let's see what capabilities he has to provoke me. He had already made up his mind to eradicate the arrogant and despotic burning hell. If he did not get back at Fengdu, how was he to survive in the Green Lotus hell in the future? Furthermore, he was an invincible demon that had comprehended the laws of life and death. He was a half-step fiend celestial. Under normal circumstances only he could kill demons. No other demons could kill him. Therefore he was not afraid of anything. Set off. All demons follow me. Let's wipe out the burning hell. Invincible demon Felipe roared angrily. Yes. Many abyss devils roared. Chapter 28:15. Several days later. Not far from the burning hell, a huge black fleet suddenly appeared. They set off from the Green Lotus hell and finally arrived near the burning hell. This black fleet had over 100 battleships. However, they weren't super battleships like the ones in the universe. Instead, they were ordinary hell spaceships that could withstand the power of the hell monsoons. To hell demons, spaceships were only tools to protect them from the hell monsoons. They weren't responsible for their main combat capabilities. They were the strongest combat power. Moreover, they didn't have this technology. Ancient hell runes appeared on these black spaceships. They emitted a profound aura, and they looked like terrifying hell beasts. Each spaceship was thousands of kilometers long. They were extremely dark, as though they had devoured all the light around them. They silently hid in the void of hell and didn't make a single sound. Usually when these spaceships got close, the demons wouldn't even notice that they had arrived. However, these spaceships emitted a powerful demonic aura. They didn't seem to have any intention of concealing it. They shook the void of hell and were ferocious and murderous. Any demon that saw this fleet would tremble in fear and feel that a great disaster was about to befall them. This fleet was led by invincible Felipe. This time he had led most of the elite demons under his command. It was as though he had turned out in full force. Clearly he was going to personally kill the chickens to scare the monkeys. At this moment, there seemed to be a huge black skull in front of the largest black spaceship. It was more than 10 times the size of the other spaceships. Invincible demon Felipe and many primordial demons were on this black spaceship. We've arrived, Lord Felipe. The burning hell isn't far ahead. At this moment, an primordial demon stepped forward and said to invincible demon Felipe, "That's the burning hell? Is this really just a mid-level hell plane?" Invincible demon Felipe narrowed his eyes and revealed a cold glint as he looked at the burning hell in the distance. Right now, the burning hell was very eye-catching in the dark void of hell. It was especially huge and it emitted a scorching light. Boundless flames were burning fiercely. From afar it looked like a blazing sun. It emitted boundless heat as though it was the only existence in the nearby hell. One could imagine how conspicuous the burning hell was right now. The other intermediate hellish planes paled in comparison to the burning hell. Because of this, the burning hell had been the first target of Cameron and the other high fiends. What an enormous inferno hell. It's filled with the essence energy of hell, and it's brimming with life force. Just how much of hell's essence has this inferno hell devoured? Many demons could not help but exclaim when they saw the burning hell. They were experienced and knowledgeable demons who had seen countless intermediate hell planes, and even some advanced hell planes. But in terms of medium hell planes, none could compare to the burning hell. In fact, some high hell planes might not even have such phenomena. It was as if the infernal hell would rise to the level of a higher hellish plane sooner or later. Who would have thought that such a powerful and mysterious medium hell plane would appear in such a desolate place? Some demons couldn't help but exclaim, "Good stuff. This is really good stuff." Just how many precious hellish materials and treasures could be nurtured in a place with such rich hellish essence energy? As long as we can loot it, we'll definitely make a fortune. That's not all. Every demon born in a hell plane like this has a rich demonic bloodline. Their potential is limitless. If we sell them, they'll definitely be worth cities. Fools. Why sell them? Of course we'll keep them as slaves and train them. In the future they'll definitely become elite demons and fight for us. The high fiends discussed animatedly. Their eyes shone with greed, as though they wanted nothing more than to enter the burning hell and plunder all the treasures and fiends within. What a bunch of idiots. What capturing fiends and plundering treasures. These are all thoughts of drying up the fish pond. This is too much of a waste. A high fiend couldn't help but shout in excitement. Do you know what hell plane this is? It's on the verge of ascending to a higher hell plane. If we can control the burning hell's essence and refine it, we'll become its ruler. Then when the burning hell ascends to a higher hell plane, we'll be its rulers. He clenched his fists. What? His words were earth-shattering. The high fiends couldn't help but tremble. Ruler of a higher hell plane was a shocking title. Even in the current hell, there weren't many demons who could become the ruler of a higher hell plane. After all, it was far too difficult to obtain the acknowledgement of a high-level hellish plane essence. In fact, it was practically impossible. But the middle hell plane was different. Even high fiends could easily refine the origin of a middle hell plane. If the middle hell plane ascended to a higher hell plane, then the ruler of the middle hell plane would ascend with it. At that time they would definitely gain endless benefits. If high fiends refined it, then they could ascend to the invincible saint realm. If invincible demons refined it, then they could instantly grow to the fulfillment of the invincible realm and reach the half-step demon god realm. They would be the strongest experts in hell at present. In fact, many demons understood this and knew how to do it. The problem was that it was too difficult for a middle hell plane to ascend to a higher hell plane. It had never happened since ancient times. There were as many middle hell planes as there were stars in the sky. Those who could ascend to a higher hell plane could be counted on one's fingers since ancient times. Therefore, finding a middle hell plane that had a chance to ascend to a higher hell plane was no different from finding a needle in a haystack. It was like hitting the jackpot. My God, it's true. We almost wasted God's gift. If we integrate the burning hell's essence into our souls and wait for it to ascend, we'll be in trouble. Conquer. We must conquer the burning hell and seize its essence. The demons roared, all extremely excited. They weren't fools. How could they not know that this was an unprecedented opportunity? When they saw the burning hell, it was as if they saw a huge treasure. Chapter 28:16. At this moment, some of the demons who had followed Demon Felipe's fleet here in the infernal hell saw this as well. Before, the infernal hell was just a nameless mid-level hell plane. But now that it was revealed to the demons, they were shocked. Damn it! This is a mid-level hell that can be promoted to a high-level hell plane. One of the demons shrieked. No, we can't let Felipe succeed. If he refines the infernal hell's origin and promotes the infernal hell to a high-level hell plane, we'll be in big trouble. Who can be Felipe's match? One of the demons bellowed. It could imagine that if the invincible demon Felipe took control of the infernal hell and became the master of a high-level hell plane, he would be able to sweep through the invincible demons in the Green Lotus hell. The invincible demon Felipe's strength would also rise to an unprecedented realm, which was definitely not a good thing for the other demon forces. Stop it. We have to stop Demon Felipe. We can't let him get the infernal hell. The problem is, how do we stop him? He's an invincible demon. If we go out, we'll be slapped to death instantly. Go back and report this. Let the invincible demons come and stop him. Many of the demon scouts discussed animatedly. They also felt the seriousness of this matter. Originally they were only here as observers, but who would have thought that they would actually discover such a secret? Fortunately, they had come to investigate. Otherwise, if Demon Felipe were to soar to great heights, the other demons would have to look up to him in the future. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The scouting demons couldn't sit still any longer. They quickly left the place and returned to the Green Lotus Hell to report. There's actually a mid-level hell plane here that can be promoted to a high-level hell plane. This is unbelievable. Demon Felipe's eyes gleamed coldly. The origin of the infernal hell is unbelievably thick. It's as if it's blessed by the origin of hell. Could it be that Fengdu, who killed Cameron and the other demons, was willing to risk his life to fight me, Demon Felipe, for this eternal opportunity? But no matter what this brat is thinking, I, Felipe, have come to this place to sweep through everything and kill the chicken to scare the monkey. All the treasures and benefits belong to me, and any demon that stands in my way must die. It clenched its fists, its body exuding boundless killing intent that shook the heavens. Not only did it want revenge, but it also wanted to improve its cultivation base. It was determined to get its hands on the essence of the burning hell. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The spaceships quickly approached the burning hell. They sped up, trying to break through the defense of the burning hell and kill all the demons inside. Boom, but at this moment, a golden claw reached out from the depths of the burning hell. Golden lava energy condensed into a tangible substance, incessantly burning with scorching flames. This was the infernal golden crow claw. Xia Ping, who was sitting in the center of the burning hell, attacked at this moment. He clawed out from the inside of the burning hell, displaying endless killing intent. The infernal golden crow claw was engraved with dense hell runes. The massive golden crow energy condensed into a tangible substance, emitting a destructive aura. It was like a terrifying claw that stretched out from the depths of the Styx River. Especially after Xia Ping had advanced to the archaic realm, this infernal golden crow claw bloodline mystique had become even more terrifying. When the claw struck down, it seemed to form a world domain, enveloping the surrounding hell and freezing time and space. You dare to destroy my fleet? You're courting death. Feeling this earth-shattering claw, invincible demon Felipe roared angrily. He flew out of the battleship and punched out from the air. Bloodline mystique, great demon god of desolation fist. This fist contained an ancient and savage aura. It was earth-shattering and seemed to contain the epic of hell. It was as if a demon god had walked out from the depths of the epic, displaying the peerless power of the laws of life and death. Boom! The infernal golden crow claw and the great demon god of desolation fist collided, immediately erupting with an earth-shattering sound. The intense collision of the two energies produced a terrifying explosive power. The two energies also produced a terrifying shockwave that spread out in all directions. The surrounding battleships seemed to be unable to withstand the strong winds and were blown tens of millions of kilometers away. Terrifying cracks also appeared on the battleships. Cracking sounds rang out as if they were about to be shattered by the shockwave. Even some demons on the battleships bled from their 7 orifices and fell unconscious on the ground. The might of this claw was so terrifying. Many demons were shocked. Before coming here, they already knew that a demon in the burning hell had killed the archaic demon Cameron and the other demons. But they didn't expect this demon to be so terrifying, to be able to resist demon Felipe to this extent. All of them were shocked. Whoosh. In an instant, Xia Ping's figure flashed and immediately appeared in the burning hell's void. He stood in the void and looked at demon Felipe in the distance. Demon Fengdu. Demon Felipe's eyes narrowed as he stared at Xia Ping with a look of disbelief. This kid was at most an early-stage archaic demon. But the power that erupted from that claw was actually comparable to his great demon god of desolation fist. How unbelievable was this? It was simply unheard of. Because under normal circumstances, it was impossible for an archaic demon to be a match for an invincible demon. They would be killed in a single exchange. It was simply impossible for them to fight to a draw. Demon Felipe, you still dare to invade my burning hell? You've got guts. Do you want to die? Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the group of demons indifferently without the slightest hint of fear. Arrogant. Hearing this, Demon Felipe laughed loudly. Mere archaic demon dares to say such words to me, Demon Felipe? Who's the one that wants to die? He was so angry that he laughed. He was an invincible demon, a true demon that dominated the burning hell. And this kid was at most an archaic demon. But this kid actually dared to boast shamelessly, saying that he had guts and even asked if he wanted to die. This was like an ant challenging an elephant, asking if the elephant was courting death for daring to step on him. For so many years, Demon Felipe had dominated the burning hell, slaughtering non-stop. But he had never heard such a joke. Chapter 28:17. Go to hell. Invincible Demon Felipe roared angrily. He did not care whether this kid was arrogant or confident. In any case, all demons who stood in his way had to die and turn into dust. Bloodline magic. Wild sand hell. Rumble, in an instant, with invincible demon Felipe's body as the center, a terrifying world covered a radius of thousands of light years, as if it had suddenly turned into a wild sand hell. This was a terrifying desert world made up of gravel. It was filled with drought, death, and scorching heat. Any life that entered it would be sucked dry of blood and turned into a dried corpse. Under the cover of this wild sand hell, no demon could escape. Every grain of black gravel would be blown up by the wind, containing a terrifying power of death. If it hit an enemy, the power of death would instantly invade their body and corrode their entire body, causing them to die without a complete corpse. Moreover, it was extremely difficult to break through this wild sand hell. All the attack power that bombarded this world would be devoured and turned into the power of death. In other words, the more one attacked this world, the stronger this wild sand hell would become. Lord Felipe is going all out from the start. It seems that this demon Guidu is dead for sure. What a pity. I wanted to see this kid's strength, but it seems that I won't have the chance. Once Lord Felipe uses his full strength, the game will be over. This kid will definitely die. Many demons in the distance were discussing. They all looked at Xia Ping with pity. All of them thought that Xia Ping, the primordial demon, was dead for sure and had no hope of survival. Because they did not know how many times they had seen invincible demon Felipe use this move. Even an invincible realm demon would have to spend a lot of effort to resist this move. Not to mention a mere primordial demon. It was likely that Guidu would be dead in a single move. A cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. He immediately felt as if he had entered a sand hell. He was surrounded by an endless black desert. The wind howled and emitted a deathly still aura. The death monsoon blew in all directions. The black gravel attacked. Every grain of gravel was a terrifying bullet containing the power of death. It could easily penetrate the defense of a saint. If an ordinary saint stayed in this place, he would probably be killed in an instant and become a dried corpse. Earthquake. In the blink of an eye, Xia Ping grabbed the golden sword transformed from the golden slime and activated his fifth divine ability, Earthquake. This sacred art came from the source energy of the Mother Earth Stone. If this earthquake sacred art was used, it could cause the earth to shake, the void to vibrate, and a spatial storm. By the time Xiao Jin leveled up to become a half-step divine artifact, this magic skill had reached an unprecedented level. A casual swing from it could tear space apart and sink continents. Dong. Xia Ping held the golden sword in his hand and waved it gently, completely activating the earthquake divine ability. In an instant, the entire hell of sand trembled and rumbled. At that moment, the hell of sand kept on trembling. Every single grain of black sand jumped along with the tremors. It was as if the entire world could not withstand such a terrifying frequency of tremors. Kacha. Kacha. The entire hell of sand seemed to be shattering. With Xia Ping's body as the center, a terrifying sound wave was produced, blasting out in all directions. The frequency of the tremors appeared billions of times, destroying everything. Along the way, all the black gravel was shaken into a powdery state. Even the gale was easily torn apart, unable to withstand such a bombardment. Impossible. You're just an ancient demon, yet you're able to shatter my hell of sand. What a joke. At the sight of this, the invincible demon Felipe went crazy. He was a sand demon that had successfully condensed the hell of sand. When he displayed the power of his domain, he was simply invincible and invincible. If a demon of the same level could withstand this move of his, he would still be able to understand it. However, this kid before him was just an ancient demon, yet he was able to shatter the hell of sand that he had condensed with a single swing of his sword. How could he accept something like that? Are you kidding me? How could he shatter Lord Felipe's hell of sand so easily? What's going on? This is the life and death domain of an invincible realm demon. It's equivalent to a plane of hell. When it shrouds down, it's basically crushing. Any demon below the invincible realm will definitely die. No way. Could it be that this demon Guidu is pretending to be weak? He's actually an invincible realm demon that's just pretending to be an ancient demon. His purpose is to make Lord Felipe lower his guard? Impossible. Even so, Lord Felipe didn't lower his guard and still used all his strength. But even so, this demon Guidu still shattered the hell of sand. It's fake. It must be an illusion. How could a mere ancient demon fight with Lord Felipe to such an extent? All the demons widened their eyes in disbelief. At first, they thought that this kid was dead for sure. They didn't expect that he would shatter the power of invincible demon Felipe's domain in just one move. They had never seen any ancient demon that could do this. No one could imagine the shock and disbelief in the depths of their hearts at this moment. Mighty thunder. But Xia Ping didn't care about the feelings of the invincible demon Felipe. The power of the 9 great seas of consciousness burst out at the same time. It was as turbulent as the power of the 9 great worlds. He held the golden long sword in his hand and slashed out again. The 8th magical power of the golden slime, mighty thunder. It could summon a sea of thunder and form an absolute thunder domain. It was like a thunder catastrophe and it could kill the enemy. It was extremely destructive. This power came from the Thunder God Stone. Whoosh, in an instant, with Xiaoping's body as the center, billions of purple thunderbolts were summoned. Each one was the size of a bucket and contained a terrifying aura of thunder catastrophe. This was no ordinary thunderbolt. It was the ninth heaven tribulation thunder. It had a natural restraining effect on demons and other creatures with negative attributes. Its power was terrifying. Descend and destroy this demon. Xiaoping waved the golden long sword in his hand lightly. Suddenly, billions of ninth heaven tribulation thunder descended at the same time, covering the area. With a crackling sound, it seemed to form an endless sea of thunder. These ninth heaven tribulation thunder seemed to have turned into lightning dragons. As if they had a consciousness of their own, they swam in the sea of thunder and attacked the demons in all directions. It was as if Yang attribute energy was automatically looking for Yin attribute energy. There was a natural attraction. Sogu website. Chapter 28:18. However, the attraction of the Yin and Yang attribute was fatal to the demons. Damn it. Dodge. Dodge. We can't face it head on. Damn it. Retreat. We have to retreat immediately. We can't get involved in their battle. Otherwise we're dead. Hurry up. Start the spaceship and leave. Are you trying to get us killed? Many demons panicked and cursed. They felt a fatal crisis. Although this attack was mainly aimed at the invincible demon Felipe, it was still not enough to stop them. Although this attack was mainly aimed at invincible demon Felipe, the aftermath could kill countless weak demons nearby. The battleships retreated quickly as if they wished their battleships had more legs. They desperately wanted to leave the battle range of Xiaoping and invincible demon Felipe. However, it was too late. Dong, dong, dong. A large number of ninth heaven tribulation lightning descended and bombarded the battleships like missiles. The demons in this sea of lightning all let out shrill screams. They were struck by the ninth heaven tribulation lightning and were instantly killed, turning into ashes. Suddenly, the black battleships were smashed and split from the middle. A large number of demons in the battleships could not withstand such a bombardment and were directly turned into ashes. Moreover, just a single shockwave had caused 1/3 of the warships to be lost, and countless demons had died. They were like cannon fodder, all of them disappearing. Invincible demon Felipe, who bore the brunt of the attack, faced the vast majority of the ninth heaven tribulation lightning. It was as if an endless sea of lightning was pouring down, completely drowning him. Armor of sand. Invincible demon Felipe roared. Endless black hell gravel gathered together and formed a total of 129,600 layers of armor of sand. Moreover, the armor of sand covered his body tightly. It was airtight and had no blind spots. Dong, dong, dong. In that instant, 1,000,000,000,000 bolts of tribulation lightning descended, bombarding the invincible demon Felipe's body. Each bolt of tribulation lightning easily shattered his armor of sand. In the end, even the 129,600 layers of sand armor were all shattered by the nine heavens tribulation lightning, which reached its body directly. With a hong sound, the invincible demon Felipe cried out miserably. His entire body was charred black by the electricity and thick smoke rose. The terrifying power of thunder invaded his body, destroying every cell in his body. Even his soul was injured. Devil Fengdu, you're courting death. The invincible demon Felipe flew into a rage. Although the blow just now did not completely injure him, it made him feel great pain. It was a pain that he had not experienced for a long time. Moreover, he had been injured by a mere primordial demon. This was simply a disgrace to him. Crash, in just a breath's time, the injuries on the invincible demon Felipe's body were completely healed. It was as if he had devoured a large amount of life energy and completely healed his injuries. Not only did it not suffer any injuries, but it also became even more violent, like a completely enraged beast. Purgatory sand, fall into the yellow springs for me. The invincible demon Felipe was extremely violent. Trillions of red gravel condensed from his body, and from these red gravel the terrifying power of death, heat, flames, burning, destruction, and so on permeated. This was because these red gravel were not ordinary gravel. They were terrifying gravel found in the ruins of a demon god in hell. Legend had it that they were picked from the purgatory hell. Every grain of gravel contained the power of purgatory. Once one was hit, the whole body would be eroded by the power of purgatory, robbing all the vitality in the body. At the same time, the blood in the body would burn and turn into ashes. And this was the invincible demon Felipe's trump card. With the purgatory sand in his hand, it was equivalent to having a super weapon. Other invincible demons were somewhat afraid of him. At this moment he took it out to kill this damn devil Fengdu and destroy this kid's prestige. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, endless purgatory sand gushed out from the invincible demon Felipe's body. It seemed to form a terrifying hell monsoon storm like a tornado. The storm of the hell monsoon swept towards Xiaoping with terrifying might. It was as though the slightest gust of this hell monsoon was enough to turn a great thousand worlds into dust, leaving not even a single corpse behind. Amazing, but if you want to kill me, just this is far from enough. Xiaoping's pupils shrank. He could naturally feel the terrifying power of the invincible demon Felipe. The red gravel contained the terrifying power of purgatory. Even an invincible demon might not be able to resist it. If his body was hit, he would definitely be heavily injured. However, he had no fear in his heart. The ninth divine ability of the golden slime, heavenly crystal body. With this sword, one could transform into a heavenly crystal body. It was indestructible, and any physical attack could be temporarily immune once. The time interval was 1 hour. This ability came from the strange stone of the universe, heavenly crystal stone. Whoosh! In an instant, Xiaoping held the golden sword in his hand. From the depths of the golden sword, a huge amount of heavenly crystal power gushed out. In an instant, a huge crystal was formed outside his body, covering his whole body. This crystal was hexagonal and transparent. It shone with a dazzling light just like a diamond. Its hardness seemed to be even stronger than the world barrier. Dong dong dong. At this moment, the hell storm formed by the invincible demon Felipe's purgatory sand attacked, bombarding Xiaoping's heavenly crystal body. In just an instant, the heavenly crystal body seemed to have suffered billions of attacks. The endless purgatory sand bombarded the heavenly crystal body, causing terrifying damage. The diamond-like heaven crystal body seemed to be unable to withstand such a terrifying destructive force, and a dense number of terrifying cracks appeared on it. It was as if the heavenly crystal body would be torn into pieces by this hell storm at any time. However, even though it looked like it was on the verge of collapse, the heavenly crystal body still stood tall. Until the hell storm ended, it was not completely destroyed. Damn it! It can actually block my purgatory sand. How is this possible? What kind of treasure is this? The invincible demon Felipe was simply crazy. The purgatory sand was his top trump card. Every time he attacked, there would be blood, causing the enemy to suffer unparalleled damage. Now, this brat had actually used some unknown method to actually block this fatal trump card of his. How inconceivable and outrageous was this? If he hadn't witnessed it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed such an absurd fact. Sogu website. Chapter 28-19. Space-Time Sword Formation. After blocking the invincible demon Felipe's strongest attack, Xiaoping instantly attacked. He held the golden long sword in his hand and slashed at the invincible demon Felipe. Rumble! In an instant, with Xiaoping's body as the center, a sword formation that covered thousands of light years was formed. It seemed that as soon as the sword formation appeared, it immediately imprisoned the space-time of hell in all directions. All the demons within the range of the sword formation felt a powerful confinement force. It seemed that at this moment, other than being able to think, they could not move at all. Even time had stopped at this moment. Oh no! The invincible demon Felipe's expression changed drastically. He felt a fatal crisis approaching. Even though he was an invincible demon, he seemed to be temporarily imprisoned by the space-time sword formation. In a battle between peerless experts, even a second of imprisonment could be fatal. Such a decisive battle could not tolerate the slightest bit of carelessness. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, hundreds of millions of golden sword auras flew out from the void. They contained an indestructible sharpness that seemed to be able to cut through all matter in the world. This sharpness came from the law of vibration. It cut through everything at an extremely high frequency. Even a vast thousand world would be easily cut in half. If it was hit by such sword auras, even if it was a demon that had comprehended the law of life and death, it would most likely be cut into countless pieces and would be seriously injured on the spot. Purgatory exploding stars. In an instant, the invincible demon Felipe roared. He simply used all his strength, operating the huge magic power in his body and gathering endless purgatory sand. Walala, in just a breath's time, hundreds of millions of balls of purgatory sand were condensed. Each of them seemed to be the size of an ordinary planet. They contained the terrible power of purgatory, such as death, destruction, heat, and so on. Moreover, this power was extremely unstable and seemed to be filled with terrifying heat. Rumble! In the next second, under the control of the invincible demon Felipe, hundreds of millions of balls formed from purgatory sand immediately exploded. It was like hundreds of millions of supernovae exploding, producing a terrifying power. Kacha. 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 The spacetime that was confined in all directions could not withstand such a shocking explosive power. The surrounding swordway domain was torn apart by this power. The surrounding void of hell was like glass, showing signs of shattering. Dense spacetime fissures appeared like a dense spider web. Hoo, the invincible demon Felipe gasped for breath. A large number of wounds had appeared on his body, and blood flowed from them. Clearly, he had paid a great price for destroying Xiaoping's spacetime sword array. It had consumed almost half of its origin energy. Even an invincible realm devil couldn't recover to his peak state in a short time after such an amazing blow. I finally found a flaw. Whoosh. Xiaoping's eyes flashed with a cold light. He activated the Golden Crow's Eye of Hell and locked onto Felipe's every move. He used all kinds of magical powers in order to create a flaw in the invincible demon Felipe. Clearly, he had finally succeeded at this moment. He used the spacetime sword array and forced the invincible demon Felipe into a desperate situation. Finally, it revealed a fatal flaw. Whoosh. In an instant, Xiaoping's body flashed. He teleported and appeared in front of the invincible demon Felipe in an instant. He was so fast that no devil could react. Demon Fengdu. The invincible demon Felipe's hair stood on end. He sensed that Xiaoping had come to his side. A fatal crisis enveloped his whole body, causing all the cells in his body to tremble. But it was too late for him to escape. The blow that broke the spacetime sword array just now had consumed a large part of his strength. There was no way he could recover so quickly. At this moment, he was in the moment when he had just used up his old strength and had not yet recovered. Although it was only a moment's flaw, Xiaoping still found it and used a fatal blow. Dong. Xiaoping didn't hesitate. He stabbed with the golden sword in his hand. It was like a meteor, but it also seemed like the blink of an eye. It instantly pierced through the invincible demon Felipe's chest. The sword was unbelievably fast. It seemed to have formed the trajectory of the laws and contained the rhythm of the great Tao. It was like an extremely powerful sword that came from the depths of hell. The sword pierced through Felipe's body before the other party could even notice it. It's useless. I'm an invincible demon. I've comprehended the laws of life and death. I can reverse the two energies of life and death. Even if you pierce through my body, you can't kill me. The invincible demon Felipe sneered. He was fearless. He even wanted to reach out to grab the golden sword in Xiaoping's hand and capture the demon Fengdu completely. The 13th divine ability, God-slaying power. Xiaoping was neither happy nor sad. He finally used the last divine ability of the golden slime. It was a terrifying divine ability that had been born after devouring 108 pieces of divine artifact shards. Rumble, immediately, a black destructive energy surged out from the depths of the golden sword. It seemed to bring about endless doomsday. It also seemed like the collapse of the universe, the end of an era, and the dusk of the gods. Although the power was weak, it could destroy everything. All laws turned into nothingness before it. It seemed like everything had returned to the primordial state. No. What kind of power is this? What kind of power is this? The invincible demon Felipe finally revealed a look of fear. He could feel death approaching. It was as if this power was even more terrifying than the power of the underworld, and it could bring the end to all things in the world. Even though he was an invincible demon who had comprehended the laws of life and death, he could not withstand this God-slaying power. Under the collision of this God-slaying power, the balance of the laws of life and death was crushed. The power of life and death was completely out of balance, and even the origin power of hell on his body was obliterated. Boom! In an instant, the invincible demon Felipe died. He did not even have time to scream. His entire body was shattered into pieces, and even his soul was shattered. Moreover, this God-slaying power did not end there. After killing the invincible demon Felipe, it seemed to turn into a terrifying beam of light, piercing through the space of hell and set off for a distant space. Dong. Not far away from the infernal hell, there was a medium hell plane. The black beam of light instantly struck this medium hell plane. In the blink of an eye, the medium-level hellish plane shattered like an egg. Then a huge black mushroom cloud rose up into the air. All the demons in the medium hell plane died. Not a single one survived. Chapter 28:20. God-slaying power? What kind of power is this? To be honest, Xiaoping was also stunned. Although he knew that this power was called God-slaying power and was said to be able to kill even gods, he did not expect it to be so powerful. Previously, he had only wanted to give it a try to see if he could kill the invincible demon. If he could not, he would probably have to think of another way. However, the power of this God-slaying power was simply beyond his imagination. Just a wisp of God-slaying power was enough to shatter the invincible demon Felipe's soul, causing him to die without being able to fight back. If he had the power of the golden slime before, he would definitely not have let the 3 invincible realm angels return alive. They would have all died tragically in the void of the universe. Too powerful. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. He felt that this power was very ominous. It contained a terrifying power that could end everything and destroy everything. Even the laws would collapse because of it. He sensed that this was definitely a power that could slay gods, a power that could cause gods to fall. However, the golden slime currently only had a wisp of this god-slaying power. After using this attack, it would need at least 3 months to completely recover. If I could control this power, wouldn't I be invincible? Xiaoping was extremely shocked. He silently felt that the god-slaying power was filled with destructive, ominous, and other auras, but it was undoubtedly the strongest power. The so-called power was not ominous, dark, or anything else. It all depended on how the user used it. Of course, if one could not control this power, it would be a different matter. At this moment, when the invincible demon Felipe's subordinates saw this scene, they were all dumbfounded. They could not believe what they were seeing. You must be joking. Lord Felipe is dead? Killed by this demon Sangdu? One of the primordial demons subconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva, his throat squirming. That's impossible. Lord Felipe is an invincible demon. Do you know that an invincible demon is an overlord of hell? An existence on the level of a king. Invincible demon, do you know that? How could such an existence be killed? What kind of hellish joke is this? One of the primordial fiends couldn't accept this reality and he roared. But Lord Felipe is still dead. Even the aura of his soul has disappeared. He was stabbed to death by the demon Sangdu. Another demon beside him could not help but say. Of course it knew how terrifying Felipe was. He had roamed the infernal realm for countless eras, and who knew how many times he had fought against the void monsters. And they had also witnessed Felipe's strength time and time again. It was absolutely extraordinary. Even an existence of the invincible demon's level would not be able to kill him. But such an existence had been stabbed to death by the demon Sangdu in front of everyone. They had seen this happen with their own eyes. Could not be faked. Of the demon. Lord Felipe was killed by the illusion. Of God, of a rank. Demon God Master, God, of Demon of God. The ancient demon roared. It felt that this was definitely an illusion. How could a mere ancient demon kill the invincible demon Felipe? If this wasn't an illusion, then how could it be possible? Boom. Just as the primordial demon finished speaking, Xiaoping's sword slashed out from afar. Ah! The ancient demon issued a pitiful scream. It was simply unable to resist. Its entire body was instantly cleaved in half by the golden sword light. Even its soul was crushed to smithereens. This? The ancient demons were stunned. Their hair stood on end. They felt as though they had fallen into an icy hell. Their bodies shivered and shivered. How could this be an illusion? Nothing could be more real than this. Even an ancient demon was killed by the demon Sangdu in a single slash. It had no strength to resist. And this was enough to prove the terrifying strength of the demon Sangdu. Without a doubt, the demon Sangdu was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. On the surface, it looked like an ancient demon. But in reality, it was an invincible one. The reason they could not sense it was because they had been tricked. Heavens, what a despicable and shameless invincible devil. In order to make them lower their guard, it had even pretended to be an ancient demon to trick them. Invincible devils could rely on their own strength to kill gods. They did not need any crafty plots. But this demon Sangdu was different. It was shameless. Even though it had reached the invincible realm, it still used all sorts of tricks. They were not afraid of the weak using tricks. What they were afraid of was the strong being shameless. This bastard demon Sangdu was completely shameless. It was here to bully the weak. Do you want to live or do you want to die? Xiaoping looked down at the group of devils with indifference. Of course we want to live. The ancient demons nodded their heads. Not a single one of them wanted to die. Even ants wanted to live, let alone powerful devils like them. Although Xiaoping was alone at the moment, they didn't feel as if they were outnumbered at all. They felt as if they were ants facing a supreme god. It's good that you want to live. Fuse with the nether god imprint. Xiaoping waved his hand. The golden crow of hell's bloodline in his body began to boil. It rapidly condensed billions of nether god imprints. This was the divine ability of his bloodline, nether god imprint. As long as they fused with the nether god imprint, these devils would become the golden crow of hell's dependents. At that time, their lives and deaths would be under his control. It was better to control these devils than to kill them. After all, the burning hell still needed a large number of devil soldiers to guard it. These ancient demons were the best soldiers to prevent all kinds of blind invaders in the future. Rumble in an instant, these ancient demons did not dare to resist. They allowed the nether god imprint to fuse with their sea of consciousness and parasitize the deepest part of their souls. Not long after, these invincible demon Felipe's subordinates all became Xiaoping's subordinates. Right, there's also Demon Felipe's corpse. Xiaoping waved his hand and immediately threw Demon Felipe's broken corpse in front of the world tree for it to devour. He was looking forward to it. He did not know what kind of mysterious fruit the world tree would condense after devouring the corpse of the Demon Felipe. After consuming such a fruit, his cultivation base would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Chapter 28-21. At this moment, in a palace in the burning hell, Xiaoping was cultivating in seclusion. The demons subdued by Xiaoping were scattered all over the burning hell. They found their own places to stay temporarily and hibernated in the burning hell. With the control of the nether god curse and the erosion of the golden crow hell's bloodline, these demons all became Xiaoping's dependents. They were all loyal and could no longer betray him. It's finally born. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. His divine sense sank into the deepest part of his sea of consciousness. Whooshed at this time after devouring Demon Felipe's corpse, the world tree immediately obtained great benefits. Its entire body seemed to have grown by at least a third. Every branch, every leaf, every root on its body became unprecedentedly powerful. Every time it swallowed energy, it formed a huge energy tide. It was like a divine tree standing in the vacuum of the universe. This was completely different from when Furukawa obtained the world tree. At that time, the world tree was only a seedling, but now it had the initial characteristics of a divine tree. It was as if the world tree at this moment was filled with the laws of space, time, creation, life and death, and so on. It itself seemed to be an amalgamation of endless worlds. One could imagine how much origin energy the corpse of an invincible demon contained. Devouring the corpse of an invincible demon was equivalent to devouring the corpses of tens of thousands of primordial demons. However, invincible demons were not so easy to kill. After all, they grasped the life and death laws and could freely switch between life and death in their bodies. If not for the golden slime evolving and grasping the god-slaying power, it would have been difficult for him to kill Demon Felipe. He could only watch helplessly as Felipe escaped. But no matter what, he still won. He killed Demon Felipe and subdued all of Demon Felipe's subordinates, greatly strengthening the foundation of the burning hell's demons. After devouring the corpse of the invincible demon, the world tree finally condensed a natural fruit called the fruit of life and death. The fruit was black and white. One side was white and contained the power of the law of life, while the other side was black and contained the power of the law of death. The power of life and death was being nurtured in this fruit. If it wasn't for the world tree's special ability, the universe wouldn't have given birth to such a heavenly fruit that could balance the power of life and death. This was truly an opportunity for the universe. At the same time, he could also sense how much life force this fruit contained. It simply surpassed all the other fruits Xiaoping had seen before. Is this the fruit of life and death that contains the life essence of the invincible demon? Xiaoping could feel every single cell of the golden crow of hell within his body stirring. They desired to devour this special fruit that contained the powers of life and death. They wanted nothing more than to swallow it immediately. With a snap, he swallowed the fruit of life and death without hesitation. Rumble, a moment later, the fruit of life and death entered Xiaoping's stomach, where it melted and transformed into life and death energy, which then entered his Dantian region, his sea of energy, his limbs, his bones, and even his meridians. What an enormous amount of energy! Xiaoping's eyes widened. He felt as if his body had devoured all the origin energy of dozens of worlds. If it weren't for the fact that he had 9 sea of consciousness spaces in his body, where every single cell contained the laws of the world, he definitely wouldn't have been able to contain the power of life and death. If an ordinary primordial demon were to consume this fruit of life and death, he would probably explode in an instant. All the laws of the world in his body would also explode. However, this fruit of life and death was just right for Xiaoping. This feels good. Xiaoping could feel the magic power in his body increasing at a rate visible to the naked eye. Generally speaking, if he wanted to fill every single cell in his body with magic power, he would need at least hundreds of millions of years of cultivation. However, after consuming this fruit of life and death, it was equivalent to devouring the life essence of an opponent that had cultivated for countless years, robbing them of their lifetime's cultivation. One could imagine just how great the benefits he would receive would be. The laws of life and death. However, the most important benefit for Xiaoping was the fragments of the laws of life and death contained in the fruit of life and death. He could feel the fragments of the laws of life and death flowing in the depths of his sea of consciousness. Although they were only fragments and not the complete laws of life and death, they still gave him a preliminary understanding of the laws of life and death, which would be of great benefit to him in comprehending the laws of the world. He could feel fragments of the laws of the world condensing in the depths of his sea of consciousness, constantly making up for the missing fragments of the laws of the world. Dong. After an unknown period of time, Xiaoping felt his body tremble. It was as if the endless ocean of energy had rushed to a certain bottleneck in his body. Mid-stage archaic realm. At this moment, Xiaoping sensed that he had finally broken through the bottleneck, advancing from the early-stage archaic realm to the mid-stage archaic realm. His strength had advanced by a small level. Moreover, this was just the beginning. The energy contained in the fruit of life and death was too great, causing the magic power in his body to increase rapidly, finally reaching the peak of the mid-stage archaic realm. It was as if he was just one step away from advancing to the late-stage archaic realm. Mid-stage archaic realm. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. After advancing to the mid-stage archaic realm, the internal space of the cells in his body that contained the laws of the world had also expanded further, doubling in size. The magic power that the cells of the laws of the world in his body could contain had also increased. It was as if every move of his contained great power, and his magic power alone could distort the vacuum of the universe. He could feel that the magic power in his body was unprecedentedly powerful. At the same time, the power of his divine sense had also improved. Previously, the range of his divine sense could cover a diameter of 10 million light-years. Now it could cover 20 million light-years, doubling in size. Thanks to the growth of the power of his divine sense, his illusory ability had also improved. Golden Crow Hell Bloodline. Of course, the biggest benefit for Xiaoping was that the Golden Crow Hell Bloodline had also improved. Previously he had awakened 5 trillion Golden Crow Hell cells, and now he had awakened 6 trillion Golden Crow Hell cells. It could be said that he had awakened a total of 1 trillion Golden Crow Hell cells this time, which was equivalent to the Golden Crow Hell bloodline in his body increasing by 20%. This was not a small number. It would not be long before he would be able to awaken 10 trillion Golden Crow Hell cells. When that time came, who knew what kind of transformation the Golden Crow Hell bloodline in his body would undergo? Chapter 28-22. 800 trillion Golden Crow Hell cells. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. In fact, now that the Golden Crow Hell bloodline in his body had been unsealed to this extent, he could vaguely sense where the limit of the Golden Crow Hell bloodline was. That was 100 trillion Golden Crow Hell cells, which was 100 trillion. If he completely unsealed 100 trillion Golden Crow Hell cells, he would completely inherit the Golden Crow Hell bloodline and control the demon god power of the Golden Crow Hell. Right now, the number of Golden Crow Hell cells in his body had reached 6 trillion. He wasn't far from 100 trillion. Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately calmed down. He didn't feel happy or sad. To him, cultivation was something that would happen naturally. If he didn't rush it, he would reach the other side. The more impatient he was, the worse it would be for his cultivation. Rumble, suddenly with his body as the center, waves of terrifying energy were generated. They instantly affected the entire burning hell, seeming to resonate with the source of the burning hell. Xiaoping's Golden Crow Hell bloodline power also spread out. The void was filled with the special waves of the Golden Crow Hell. This bloodline power affected all the demons in the burning hell. Whoosh, all the demons in the burning hell subconsciously sensed the waves. They felt that the demon bloodline in their bodies seemed to have become purer. All the demons' strength increased by different degrees. Even the primordial demons felt that their bloodline had evolved. They seemed to have fused with the demon god bloodline. Wisps of flames were born in the depths of their blood. The nether god mark in the depths of countless demon souls trembled and spread out unique waves. Wisps of soul power were emitted and then instilled into Xiaoping. Although the nether god curse was a bloodline ability to control many demons, it was also a cultivation support ability. It could use the power of countless demons to refine the demon god power in one's own body. Unknowingly, the golden crow hell cells in Xiaoping's body were unsealed. The bloodline power also became denser and denser. Boom, in the sky above the palace, the shadow of the golden crow hell appeared. It emitted an unparalleled demon god power, as if it had left the mark of the demon god in the burning hell. The source of the burning hell seemed to be constantly strengthening, evolving into a high-level plane of hell. At the same time, the news of Felipe's death and his subordinates surrendering to the burning hell spread like wildfire through the hell of Blue Lotus. Soon all of the fiend devils knew about it. This incident caused a huge uproar in the Blue Lotus hell. Almost every demon knew about it. What did you say? Invincible demon Felipe was killed by the Lord of the Burning Hell, Jianghu. He couldn't even escape, and Felipe's subordinates were so scared that they surrendered. Are you kidding me? An invincible demon couldn't help but jump when he heard the report from his spy. He looked at his subordinate in disbelief, because this was an inconceivable matter. Who was Felipe? He was a demon of the invincible realm, a powerful demon that truly stood at the top of hell. Even an invincible demon of the same level could not kill him. The only way to kill Felipe was to be surrounded by void monsters. But even so, there must be a sufficient number of void monsters to succeed. After all, even if an invincible demon couldn't defeat his opponent, he could easily escape. But now, the fiend Fengdu, who was said to be at the archaic realm, had actually killed the invincible fiend Felipe. How could it possibly believe such news? To be honest, when he heard the news, he thought his subordinate had gone crazy. Lord, is true. I saw it with my own eyes. That invincible demon Felipe was hit by Dengdu's sword. His entire body was shattered and his soul was destroyed. He couldn't be more dead. The demon was trembling all over. Without a doubt, Jianghu is definitely pretending to be weak. He is an invincible realm demon. He can't be an immemorial realm demon. It was terrified to the extreme. Fortunately, it had escaped in time. Otherwise, it might have been killed by the devil Tsangdu and died without a complete corpse. And I'm not the only one who saw it. All the spies who went to the burning hell saw it. There's no doubt about it, the demon said firmly. Invincible demon? That explains it. No, even if Dengdu is an invincible realm demon, it's hard to explain this. What kind of power can kill an invincible realm demon so easily? What does that guy have? The invincible demon's expression was extremely ugly. He was extremely terrified. Dengdu could kill invincible demon Felipe, so naturally it could kill him too. This was the same logic. After all, he wasn't much stronger than Felipe. Thinking that there was a demon in this place that could kill him, he felt like there was a blade on his back. I'm not sure, but some demons guessed that Dengdu might have a magic treasure of the demon god level. That's why he could kill an invincible realm demon. The subordinate demon voiced his conjecture. A magic treasure of the demon god level? That's very possible. Hearing this, the invincible demon couldn't help but nod in agreement. Although magic treasures of the demon god level were very rare in hell, it wasn't that they didn't exist. Moreover, every one of them was controlled by powerful invincible demons with the bloodline of the demon god. In fact, every magic treasure of the demon god level could unleash earth-shattering power that was far beyond the imagination of other invincible demons. If Dengdu had such a magic treasure, he indeed had the ability to kill invincible demon Felipe. Moreover, we also guessed that Dengdu might have found the magic treasure of the demon god level in the burning hell. Otherwise, he wouldn't have appeared in this middle hell plane and guarded it. Moreover, the burning hell might have an unimaginable earth-shattering secret. The demon said in a deep voice. What? There was a glimmer of light in the eyes of the invincible demon. Hearing this, he couldn't sit still. If the burning hell had so many earth-shattering secrets, and even the magic treasure of the demon god was obtained in that place, then it would be terrible. At this moment he was so jealous that his intestines turned green. Why didn't he find the magic treasure of the demon god, but the unknown demon Dengdu got it? This was too unfair. If he could get his hands on it, he would be able to rule over the hell of the Green Lotus. No invincible fiend devil would be able to stop him. He would truly be invincible. Chapter 28-24. In the blink of an eye, several months had passed. In these few months, the burning hell had been peaceful. Many invincible demons in the Green Lotus hell were afraid of Xiaoping's strength and did not dare to come over to check. After all, this was a power that could kill the invincible demon Felipe. Which invincible demon would not be afraid of it? If they did not find out what was going on, they would not casually make a move. In any case, they had been running amok in hell for a long time. As the saying goes, the longer one lived, the more afraid they were of death. They naturally did not dare to be as reckless and impulsive as those imbecile demons. Therefore, the burning hell was still relatively peaceful at this moment, as if nothing had happened before. At this moment, in the central palace of the burning hell. Boom. At this moment, Xia Ping, who was in seclusion, finally opened his eyes, revealing a terrifying light that seemed to pierce through the void of hell, erupting with a terrifying aura and power. After several months of seclusion cultivation, he had completely consolidated the power of the middle stage archaic realm. He could be said to be completely familiar with his skyrocketing power. Could be said that compared to a few months ago, he was at least 2 to 3 times stronger. It seemed that it would not take long for him to break through to the late stage archaic realm. This was because the energy contained in the life and death fruit refined by the invincible demon was too great. Even with Xia Ping's strong foundation, it had brought him great benefits. Even now, this benefit still hadn't been exhausted. It could be imagined just how powerful an invincible demon was, and how much blood essence energy was contained within its body. Did anything happen in the past few months? Xia Ping moved his mind and asked Corinne and Green Ox. Nothing major happened. After killing the invincible demon Felipe, those invincible demons in the Green Lotus Hell seemed to have quietened down, as if nothing had happened, Corinne said in a deep voice. But there is still some movement. However, there's still some movement. According to the information sent back by our spies in the Green Lotus Hell, the invincible abyss devils of the Green Lotus Hell seem to be planning to hold a meeting. I wonder what they plan to discuss. Perhaps they're discussing how to deal with the burning hell? The Green Ox voiced his guess. Holding a meeting? Is this considered normal? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. No, it's not normal at all. In fact, other than when they're about to lose each other and have no choice but to hold a peace conference, they won't meet at any other time. Corinne said, and at this time they suddenly held a meeting. No matter how I think about it, it feels a bit like they are targeting our burning hell. We must be very careful about this. Is there any way to find out what their meetings are about? Xia Ping asked. There's nothing we can do. They're too secretive. Other than the invincible demons themselves, no other demons have the right to know the contents of the meeting, the Green Ox said. Since that's the case, let's go meet them. Xia Ping clenched his fist. What? Meet them? Master, this isn't a joke. Those are all invincible demons and there are over 100 of them. Although Master has killed an invincible demon before, the combined power of over 100 invincible demons isn't something that can be taken lightly. It's not something that Felipe can compare to. The Green Ox's eyes widened. He didn't expect his master to make such a bold decision. He even plans to meet those invincible demons. Isn't this courting death? Don't be nervous. Even if we can't beat those invincible demons, we're still very confident in escaping. Moreover, it's obvious that the purpose of these demons is to deal with our burning hell. If we don't deal with these demons now, don't tell me we'll have to wait for them to join forces to deal with us? Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back. This? The Green Ox and Corinne didn't know what to say. They naturally knew this. The location of the burning hell is very important because this place is the only void channel connecting the main universe. If this place is occupied by those invincible demons, it is equivalent to cutting off their retreat. Even if they give up the burning hell and run away, how can they return to the hell world in the future? Therefore, this place is equivalent to their base camp in hell, and they can't afford to lose it. If these invincible demons join forces, unite as one and send an army, then according to the current strength of the burning hell, it is impossible to stop these demon coalition forces. The problem is that even if they know this, there is no way to stop it. After all, the battle power gap between the two sides is still too big. Even if the current Xia Ping can deal with an invincible demon, it is impossible to deal with hundreds of invincible demons. In the face of such powerful demons, if they still fight head-on, I'm afraid there is only a dead end. Are you worried that I am not the opponent of those invincible demons? Xia Ping faintly smiled as he saw through Corinne and Azure Ox's thoughts. You don't need to worry about this. Perhaps you have forgotten that I am still the Lord of Green Lotus Hell, and I have already controlled the source of Green Lotus Hell. If I fight in Green Lotus Hell, I can immediately control all the power of Green Lotus Hell and exert hundreds and thousands of times more battle power than myself. There is such a thing. The Green Ox and Corinne were taken aback. They did remember Xia Ping's identity as the Lord of Green Lotus Hell, but they also thought that it was just an identity. They didn't expect it to have such a function. That was why the position of ruler of a high-level hell plane was so coveted by the invincible fiend devils. As long as they could control the essence of a high-level hell plane, they would be able to fuse with it and unleash every bit of its power to unleash unparalleled combat prowess. Even if an immemorial demon becomes the lord of a high hell plane lord, after obtaining the blessing of the hell plane lord, it can easily hang a group of invincible demons. If an invincible demon were to become the master of a high-level hell plane, then it would truly be an invincible existence. It could kill any demon it wanted, and even an invincible demon wouldn't be able to resist it. At the same time, with the blessing of the hell plane lord, its cultivation will also progress at lightning speed. It can easily comprehend the many laws of the hell plane, and it will be easier to advance to the demon god realm. There is a legend in hell that if one wants to become a top demon god, he must first become the lord of a high hell plane lord, otherwise it is impossible to advance to demon god. Therefore, it can be imagined how attractive this position is to those invincible demons. Becoming the lord of a high hell plane lord is the prerequisite to becoming the lord of hell. Chapter 28-25. Several days later, Xia Ping and Luna arrived at the Green Lotus Hell alone. This was the first time Xia Ping had returned to the Green Lotus Hell after becoming an archaic saint. As soon as he stepped into the Green Lotus Hell, Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat. He immediately sensed the joy of the Green Lotus Hell's origin. All the origin energy was boiling as if it was welcoming him home. Whoosh! The entire Green Lotus Hell's origin energy surged into his body. The origin energy seemed to be flowing freely into every corner of his body. With his body as the center, a terrifying energy whirlpool with a diameter of several thousand light-years seemed to form. Logically speaking, such a huge hell phenomenon would definitely alarm all the demons in the Green Lotus Hell. However, under the influence of the Green Lotus Hell's origin energy, such a hell phenomenon seemed to be isolated in a separate space. No demon in the Green Lotus Hell could sense any aura leaking out. It was as if Xia Ping had already merged into the Green Lotus Hell, and his existence had been erased. No, perhaps it wasn't that his existence had been erased. Instead, he was standing in a higher dimension. It was as if life forms in lower dimensions were unable to sense life forms in higher dimensions. This feeling? At this moment, Xia Ping sensed that he was the Green Lotus Hell, and the Green Lotus Hell was him. He could control every corner of the Green Lotus Hell and every wisp of Hell's origin energy. It was as if he was the true ruler of this plane of Hell, a true god. With a single thought, he could change the geography of the Hell of the Green Lotus. In fact, he could control the energy of the entire high-level Hell at will and unleash millions of times his combat strength. Any abyss devil who fought him in the Blue Lotus Hell would die. They would instantly be crushed into dregs by the enormous amount of origin energy. My God! When Green Ox and Corinne perceived this scene, they were simply dumbfounded. Being dumbfounded was not enough to describe their shock at this moment. They could be considered as having seen countless saints. They had even seen many invincible saints. However, they could sense that Xia Ping, who was in the Green Lotus Hell, was terrifyingly powerful. It was as if he had truly transformed into a demon god. Every move he made contained supreme heavenly might. At this moment they immediately relaxed. Xia Ping, who was in the Green Lotus Hell, was truly invincible. No matter how many demons attacked him together, they couldn't hurt him at all. Is this the master of a high-level hell? No wonder countless demons covet this position. So powerful. This is the power of a high-level hell. Green Ox and Corinne couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva, incomparably shocked in their hearts. As expected of Master. Luna, who was at the side, had a look of worship on her face. She could feel her body trembling, not out of fear, but out of incomparable excitement, as though the immortal cells deep within her body were boiling. At this moment, Xia Ping's consciousness also noticed a trace of Luna's energy fluctuation. Xia Ping's Hell, Xia Ping's Ling. At this, Ping's Qin Saint Ping and Yang Qin Ping. Star Ping's Qin Hell, Qin Lu Qin Ping and Lotus Hell and Ping God Ping Yang He Yang Ping Hell Yang Ping Yang, Ping Hell Ping, Long as Yang and Yang He Ping, Qin Ping He Ping, these are God's flesh and cells. Xia Ping's eyes gleamed. He finally understood why countless sages were unable to kill Luna when it was only at the lightning tribulation realm. Instead they had sealed it up. Even ordinary immortal saints weren't this terrifying. They could still be killed by high-level saints. However, Luna couldn't be killed by other saints. Not even invincible saints could. Now he finally knew the reason. It was because the immortal and indestructible cells in Luna's body came from the flesh and blood of God. Only the immortal and indestructible characteristics of God could make many invincible sages helpless, and they could only choose to seal her. Dragon scientist Titania. What a lunatic. Xiaoping was shocked. He finally understood why all the saints in the universe wanted to kill Titania. That woman dared to use God's flesh and blood for experiments. She created a monster that was almost uncontrollable. If it wasn't for him, Luna would probably be an unkillable abomination after being released. She might even be more terrifying than the abyssal demon tree. It wasn't strange at all to be called a monster that could destroy the world. He could even sense that Luna's body didn't just contain God's flesh and blood. There was also a lot of special dark matter that contained terrifying destructive power. He didn't know where it came from. I can't meet with that crazy woman. Xiaoping had a feeling that she was even more terrifying than the demon lord. There was nothing she didn't dare to do. He didn't know how many trump cards she had. No matter what, Titania was a dragon from the dragon race. They were a race that survived from the previous universe. Who knew how many secrets and special powers they had? What's wrong, master? Luna blinked and looked at Xiaoping curiously. It's nothing. Work hard to become stronger. I still need your help with many things. Xiaoping patted Luna's head. Okay, I got it. Luna nodded seriously. She looked happy. Alright, I have to meet that group of invincible demons. Let me think where they are. Xiaoping closed his eyes and merged his consciousness with the Green Lotus Hell's origin. In an instant, every corner of the Green Lotus Hell turned into a huge detailed map in his sea of consciousness. At the same time, the auras of countless demons appeared. In particular, the invincible demons didn't conceal their powerful auras of the law of life and death. They appeared in the Green Lotus Hell like the sun, moon, and stars. They've actually gathered. This saves me a lot of effort. In the next second, Xiaoping sensed that a total of 108 invincible demons had appeared in the Green Lotus Hell. They were all gathered in the center of the Green Lotus Hell. That was where the demon god's ruins were. They seemed to have chosen an empty space near the demon god's ruins to hold a closed-door meeting. The invincible demons had also set up densely packed restrictive formations around it. Apart from the invincible demons, no other demons could get close. No demons could even eavesdrop on the contents of the meeting. Whoosh! Xiaoping's figure flashed and he arrived near the conference center. Chapter 28-26. At the moment in the center of Green Lotus Hell, there was an open space. 108 invincible realm demons were gathered there. They were all gathered there. It could be said that they were all the invincible demons of Green Lotus Hell. Of course, the number of invincible demons couldn't be compared to Green Lotus Hell at its peak. After all, most of the invincible demons had died because of the invasion of the void monsters. To make up for enough invincible demons, this little bit of time was far from enough. Invincible demons appeared there one after another, giving off an unfathomable aura. It was as if they were small universes themselves, and their bodies contained terrifying origin energy. Everyone, I believe that you know very well why I've summoned you here for this meeting. The invincible realm demon Cecilio who spoke first was a hell elephant. It had the body of a huge elephant and it was pitch black. It was like a towering mountain that couldn't be climbed, and it was insurmountable. Moreover, this was the form it took after shrinking its real body. If its real body appeared, it would be millions of kilometers long. Even in the vacuum of the universe, it would be a terrifying space monster. Just by standing there, one could feel the extremely terrifying power in its body. In fact, it had a trace of demon god's bloodline, which came from the Hell Divine Elephant. Legend had it that the Hell Divine Elephant had once suppressed countless hell planes. Its power was immense and it suppressed hell. It was one of the strongest demon gods. And this invincible demon had inherited the Hell Divine Elephant. It had the demon god's bloodline, and it also had terrifying power that could suppress other invincible demons. With a light step of its hoof, the continent would be shattered and split into pieces. It could be said that Hell Elephant Cecilio was one of the strongest invincible demons. That was why he had the right to speak first, and what he said convinced the other invincible demons. Of course we know why we're holding this meeting. It's to deal with the burning hell's demon Fengdu, an invincible demon said. That's right, it's to deal with the demon Fengdu. This guy killed the invincible demon Felipe and displayed terrifying power. This is a huge threat to the invincible demons of Green Lotus Hell. Hell Elephant Cecilio said in a low voice, if he can easily kill the invincible demon Felipe, then he can naturally easily kill us invincible demons. This is a threat that can't be ignored and we have to take it seriously. If one day we become enemies with the demon Fengdu, then will we also be killed? Its expression was solemn. To be honest, even though it possessed the demon god's bloodline and was stronger than ordinary invincible evil demons, it was not easy to kill an invincible evil demon of the same level. After all, if the situation was not good, the other invincible demons would quickly escape. Even if they could not defeat him, they could still escape. After hearing this, it and Demon Fengdu, it would be Demon Fengdu. It Fengdu would be. And Demon Fdu would have been. After hearing this news, it immediately felt threatened by the Demon Fengdu. After all, no one would want a demon that could kill them at any time to appear near them. And which invincible Feng Fun? Of course we know about the threat of that Demon Fengdu. Did you summon us here to join forces and kill that Demon Fengdu? The one who spoke was the invincible demon Kashmir. It was a hellhound, and it also had the demon god's bloodline. It emitted the terrifying hell's origin energy and darkness, corruption and corrosion. It seemed like its claws were terrifying, and it could tear the void with a light swipe. Moreover, its nose was very sharp. As long as it smelled its aura, it could track it even to the end of hell. At the same time, it was very powerful. It had inherited the hellhound's demon god three-headed hellhound's bloodline. Legend had it that the hellhound guarded the gates of hell, and it was a terrifying demon god that stopped countless enemies from invading hell. Such an existence's combat power was also very powerful, and it wasn't inferior to Hell Elephant Cecilio. That's right. I called you here to deal with the demon Fengdu. As long as we work together to kill the demon Fengdu, he won't be able to threaten us. Hell Elephant Cecilio said in a low voice. Haha, that sounds better than a song. This is a terrifying existence that can kill the invincible demon Felipe. Who knows what other terrifying trump cards he has? One of the invincible demons sneered. Even if we work together, can we really kill him? Even if we can, we will have to pay the price of injuring or killing an invincible demon. Who would be willing to be cannon fodder and become a demon? It was very straightforward. Of course they could deal with the demon Fengdu, but they would only wave the flag and shout battle cries. They would definitely not be the vanguard and risk their lives for other invincible demons. That's right, that invincible demon Felipe only has himself to blame for causing trouble in the burning hell. He has already invaded his territory, so he deserves to be killed. As long as we don't provoke him, we might be fine. Another invincible demon said. That's right. You want us to risk our lives for nothing? You're a little too naive. An invincible demon sneered. Although some demons were afraid of Fengdu, there were also some invincible demons who didn't have any feelings for Fengdu. After all, they were too far apart and there was no threat at all. If they could easily kill Fengdu, of course they would agree. But if Fengdu had the power to retaliate and might kill them, then they would have to think twice. They couldn't ignore their own safety. After all, they were very comfortable staying in their own territory. There was no need to leave and risk their lives. You guys really have no foresight. Don't you know that Demon Fengdu has a plane that is about to become a high-level hell plane? If we can control that middle-level hell plane, then we will all be able to turn the heavens upside down. In the future, we will no longer need to live in other demons' territories, nor do we need to fear void monsters. Cecilio shouted, do you know how great the benefits of becoming a high-level hell plane's master are? Don't you want to become a demon god? He revealed a look of disappointment. Of course we know about the benefits. The problem is that there is only one position of the hell plane's master. Who do you plan to give it to? An invincible demon asked, looking at Cecilio. Chapter 28-27. Of course we'll split it equally. Cecilio the Hell Elephant said matter-of-factly. It said that the burning hell is also a middle hell plane with vast territory and abundant resources. There's an incredible amount of wealth in there. At the same time, Fengdu might have a lot of treasures on him. We can split them equally with so many invincible demons. Of course, there's only one position as the master of the burning hell, so we can't split it equally. But it doesn't matter. After we get it, we'll think of a fair way to distribute it. If you don't trust this cooperation method, we can sign the hell contract to bind our souls and maintain absolute fairness and justice. It glanced at the invincible demons to show that it was absolutely fair and without any selfish motives. I have no doubts about the cooperation method. Even if we can't get any treasures, it's worth it to get rid of this big trouble. But how can we kill this kid? An invincible demon asked in a deep voice. After all, Fengdu is likely an invincible demon. As long as he gets the news and runs away immediately, we won't be able to catch up. It looked at Cecilio the Hell Elephant. Haha, there's no need to worry about that. I've already thought of a way. When we get close to the burning hell, we'll immediately activate the sealing formation and surround the entire burning hell. Cecilio the Hell Elephant laughed out loud. This way, no matter what that kid does, he won't be able to escape our grasp. He'll be trapped in the burning hell until he dies. And with our strength, we don't need to be afraid of that kid at all. 108 invincible demons will personally take action. That Fengdu is just one demon. Can't we defeat him? At the end of its words, it even asked a question in return. With so many invincible demons working together, there was no reason that they couldn't defeat him. Well, what you said makes sense. The invincible demons nodded in agreement with Cecilio the Hell Elephant's words. Since that's the case, there's no time to lose. Let's hurry up and sign this hell's contract. After all, that Fengdu demon might get some information and run away in advance. If that happens, we'll lose more than we gain. Let's take advantage of the time when that brat doesn't have any reaction to attack and catch him off guard. Cecilio the Hell Elephant said fiercely. In that case, I agree to this. Count me in. That demon Fengdu is indeed very dangerous. It has the mysterious power to kill other invincible demons. We can't let this guy continue to exist. That's right. This kind of invincible demon is too dangerous. Who can guarantee that they won't offend this invincible demon Fengdu? It's better for this kid to die now. Only then will everyone feel at ease. Let's sign the contract. This demonic necropolis is too dangerous. We'll only be able to sleep peacefully if that kid dies. The invincible demons nodded. The reason why they agreed to hunt down Demon Fengdu together was not only to obtain most of the treasures on Demon Fengdu. At the same time, it was also because this guy was too dangerous. Even the strongest invincible demon here, the Hell Elephant Cecilio, couldn't kill an invincible demon that wanted to escape. At most, he could heavily injure it. But this Fengdu devil could. Any invincible devil would feel uncomfortable hearing this news. As invincible demons, they were already used to being immortal. How could they tolerate the existence of such a threat? Even if it wasn't for the treasure, they had to eradicate such a threat. Very well. The Hell Elephant Cecilio smiled. It didn't expect the meeting to go so smoothly. It was passed without any objections. From this, it could be seen how threatening Demon Fengdu Devil was. Even though they had never met Demon Fengdu Devil, they wanted this kid to disappear in hell. Oh, you want to kill me? There's no need to go to the burning hell. I'm right here. Just come and kill me. At this moment, a voice came from mid-air. The voice was like a bolt from the blue, instantly shocking all the invincible demons. What demon? All the invincible demons turned pale with fright. They looked up in disbelief and saw a figure appear in mid-air. They couldn't help but be shocked. After all, there were so many invincible demons gathered here. There was actually another demon that sneaked into the conference center without being discovered by any invincible demons. How unbelievable was this? If such an existence carried out an assassination, wouldn't a few of them be killed? All of their hair stood on end. They felt a chill run down their spines. What demon? Didn't you want to kill me? I listened to your discussion for a long time. The figure in midair stood with his hands behind his back, looking down at the invincible demons. You're Demon Fengdu Devil. One of the invincible demons, Kelly, couldn't help but scream. He widened his eyes and stared at the figure in midair. What? All the invincible demons woke up with a start. It was unbelievable. They didn't expect Demon Fengdu, whom they wanted to kill, to appear in front of them. Not only that, he had even swaggered his way into the meeting of so many invincible demons without the slightest scruple. Just how audacious was he? Just how unbridled was he? He had absolutely no regard for them at all. It should be known that any demon, even an invincible demon, would be unable to eat or sleep in peace if they knew that these demons had joined forces. They might even flee in the middle of the night, not daring to stay. But this Demon Fengdu didn't run away. Instead, he appeared in front of them without any scruples. This was simply arrogant. This was a provocation. This was a provocation. The invincible demons couldn't help but feel a trace of anger from the depths of their hearts. Since when were invincible demons looked down on to this extent? Was he really not afraid that they would kill him? That's right. I'm Fengdu. Xia Ping appeared directly in front of these invincible demons, not hiding his identity at all. After receiving the support of the Green Lotus Hell Source, his battle prowess was unprecedentedly strong. Even if he was facing 108 invincible demons, he wouldn't feel the slightest fear. Instead, the golden crow of hell's bloodline in his body boiled, surging with endless battle intent. An unparalleled demonic aura emanated from his body, enveloping the area within a radius of tens of thousands of light years. Very good. Since you're Fengdu, then die. This saves us the trip to the burning hell. I'll kill you here right now. Cecilio the Hell Elephant roared angrily. His body emanated violent power and he was the first to attack. He attacked Xia Ping at an incredible speed. Chapter 28. Bloodline Magic, Divine Elephant Charge. In an instant, Cecilio the Hell Elephant charged over. The countless cells of the Hell Divine Elephant in its body were boiling, as if each cell contained the energy of a small world. One could imagine how terrifying the power of Hell was in its body. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it was the strongest demon. Its charge was like a landslide and a tsunami, as if the power of thousands of worlds had gathered together. It emitted world-destroying power. It could really kill gods and demons in its way. Its body was vaguely wrapped by the boundless power of Hell's origin, forming a huge energy shield. Under the shield's obstruction, it reached the realm of invincibility. During its charge, its body became completely domineering. All spells were useless against it. They were all repelled by the power of the Hell Divine Elephant and instantly reflected. In fact, this was one of the reasons why the Hell Divine Elephant could dominate Hell. It had extreme power and could reflect all spells, using power to suppress everything. Even though Cecilio the Hell Elephant wasn't as terrifying as the Hell Divine Elephant, as a descendant who inherited the bloodline of the demon god, it could still display the terrifying power of the demon god's bloodline. Too strong. As expected of a demon who inherited the bloodline of the Hell Divine Elephant. This power is simply unstoppable. It's said that when Cecilio charged at full force, a high-level hell plane was damaged beyond repair. God knows how many demons were turned into meat paste. Although Cecilio the Hell Elephant isn't proficient in spells, he can crush all demons with this pure power. How amazing. Many invincible demons were shocked to see this scene. Even though they had seen Cecilio the Hell Mammoth in action countless times, they were still amazed every time they saw it. That was the purest power of the divine elephant that ordinary demons couldn't match. With just a single collision, most of the demons would probably be smashed to death and turned into a pile of meat paste. Even their souls would be shattered into powder by the impact. It was very simple, very barbaric, and could be described as a primitive method. But it allowed Cecilio the Hell Elephant to dominate Hell. Even invincible demons were terrified of it. Many of the invincible demons present had been severely injured by Cecilio the Hell Elephant. That was why it could gather so many invincible demons to hold a meeting. Every invincible demon had to give it face. However, because its speed was not as terrifying as its strength, even if the invincible demons could not defeat Cecilio, they could still escape with their speed. Otherwise, if Cecilio's speed could keep up, he would have become the absolute overlord of the Green Lotus Hell a long time ago. Not bad. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He could also feel Cecilio's unreasonable brute force. Cecilio was the strongest invincible saint he had ever seen. He was too unreasonable. It was as if he could shatter countless divine abilities and magical arts and shatter the power of laws just by relying on the strength of his body. In the past, Xia Ping could only retreat in the face of such power. However, after obtaining the endless support of the Green Lotus Hell origin, he no longer cared about such power. In the blink of an eye, he made his move. Standing in midair, he gazed at Cecilio the Hell Elephant who was crashing towards him with one arm. Boom. In the next second, Cecilio the Hell Elephant's brute force crashed over as though thousands of great thousand worlds were crashing down at the same time, causing the Hell's void to explode. Any invincible demon would find it difficult to resist this pure brute force. It seemed as if even the void of Hell could not withstand this terrifying power and began to shatter like glass. Countless cracks appeared in the void and these cracks were like spider webs. But at this instant, this brute force was stopped. A hand pressed on Cecilio the Hell Elephant's head. It was clearly an ordinary hand, but it stopped Cecilio the Hell Elephant's charge. It was as though all the brute force vanished without a trace in front of this hand and was devoured cleanly. No matter how hard Cecilio the Hell Elephant tried, his face flushed red, he couldn't move an inch. Impossible. What kind of joke is this? He stopped Cecilio the Hell Elephant's charge with one hand. Is he crazy? We must be crazy. We must be hallucinating because we're too tired. How can any demon stop Cecilio? Crazy? He's completely crazy. What exactly is going on? The invincible demons were dumbfounded and couldn't believe their eyes. At this moment, Cecilio, who was known to be the strongest in hell, used the divine elephant's charge, which was said to be able to create cracks in the plane of hell. But at this very moment, it was easily stopped by a hand, as if it was being pressed down by a strong force. How could they believe such a ridiculous fact? Not only were the invincible demons in disbelief, but Cecilio the Hell Elephant also couldn't accept the reality before him. He simply went crazy because losing to other demons in terms of strength was a devastating blow to his psyche. Impossible. You're just a skinny abyssal demon. How could you block the attack of the strongest abyssal demon in hell with just one hand? What scheme did you use? Cecilio the Hell Elephant roared, his face filled with indignation. Unfortunately, he couldn't push the guy in front of him away no matter how hard he tried. It was as though that hand was all-encompassing and he wasn't just pushing a demon away, but the entire plane of hell. No matter how hard he tried, it was useless. It was like an ant trying to shake a tree. The strongest demon? Xia Ping said indifferently, "You're really a frog in a well. Who gave you such a title? You can't say that you're the strongest with just this little bit of strength." To be honest, Xia Ping, who had obtained the support of the Green Lotus Hell's origin power, had endless power in his body. He could mobilize the power of the entire Green Lotus Hell with a single thought. It could be said that Cecilio the Hell Elephant wasn't fighting against Xia Ping, but the entire Green Lotus Hell. How could the power of an invincible demon compare to the entire plane of hell? Moreover, the Green Lotus Hell wasn't an ordinary plane of hell. It was a world that was evolving towards the demon god plane. It was much stronger than the other ordinary planes of hell. He was dreaming if he thought he could contend against Xia Ping with a mere infernal elephant. Third sect leader. Chapter 28-29. I don't believe that I can't defeat you. You're just a weak little demon. How can you stop me who has the bloodline of the Hell God Elephant? Go to hell. Cecilio the Hell God Elephant was enraged. He was completely enraged. A terrifying demonic aura erupted from his body. It was as if every cell of the Hell God Elephant in his body was bursting out. With his body as the center, boundless blood-colored light was released. It was as if the shadow of the Hell God Elephant had appeared behind him, emitting a mighty force that could suppress the endless hells. Bloodline divine ability, trampling of the divine elephant. In an instant, Cecilio the Hell God Elephant activated the power of the bloodline in his body. He seemed to have used all his strength as his 4 elephant hooves trampled in the void of hell. Walala, unknowingly billions of Hell God Elephants had appeared in midair. They covered the entire area and roared at the sky. Their 4 elephant hooves were trampling madly. In just a second, the billions of Hell God Elephants seemed to have produced trillions of tremors. At the same time, they erupted with terrifying tremors as if they had detonated sound waves that could shatter the world. Not good. Retreat. Cecilio the Hell God Elephant has gone completely crazy. We must not get involved. Otherwise we'll definitely die. He actually forced Cecilio to use the trampling of the divine elephant. What's the background of this demon Fengdu? The many invincible demons' expressions changed drastically as they panicked. They knew that Cecilio the Hell God Elephant's strongest ultimate skill, trampling of the divine elephant. This ultimate skill allowed the Hell God Elephant to transform into billions of clones, creating the phenomenon of billions of giant elephants trampling on hell. The trampling power produced by each Hell God Elephant seemed to be able to crush a great thousand world. Just how terrifying was the trampling force produced by the billions of hellish mammoths at the same time? In fact, the trampling force could even stack with each other, layer upon layer, like waves upon waves of the sea, forming a destructive force that could topple mountains and tsunamis. Such an attack had an area of effect that could cover hundreds of thousands of light years. Back then, Cecilio the Hell God Elephant had also used this move several times. However, every time it was used, it would result in the destruction of lives. The area of hundreds of thousands of light years was razed to the ground. Even void monsters couldn't block the Hell Elephant Cecilio's divine elephant trample. It was as if an undying and indestructible void monster could be turned into meat paste with a single stomp. They wouldn't be able to recover in a short period of time. Of course, this attack didn't distinguish between friend and foe. Once it was used, this power would affect its own people, and both sides would be killed by the Hell Elephant Cecilio. Therefore, under normal circumstances, Cecilio the Hell Elephant wouldn't use this move. He didn't expect that not long after, Cecilio would use a move that would destroy both sides. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The invincible demons were scared out of their wits. They fled one after another, trying to get away from the range of the divine elephant trampling. Rumble, a terrifying vibration force erupted from Cecilio's body, seemingly forming the most terrifying vibration law. It turned into billions of destructive ripples, presenting a black destructive force. This kind of vibration wave crushed over, simply crushing everything. It was like the wave of doomsday, annihilating all matter. Noisy. Xiaoping only said this one sentence, but with his body as the center, the space of tens of millions of light-years in hell came to a standstill. It was as if even time had stopped. All the invincible demons stopped. At this moment, not only were they unable to move, even their thoughts had stopped. It was as if they had entered a state of absolute stillness. This was the current Xiaoping. With the support of the Green Lotus Hell's origin energy, he had reached a realm where his words were law. He was in the Green Lotus Hell and he could use the 3,000 laws of the Green Lotus Hell. He was the god of this world and he could easily change the operation of this world. Disappear. Xiaoping waved his hand lightly, and with a boom, the flow of time returned to normal. However, at this moment, the billions of Hell Elephant clones were smashed to pieces, turning into nothingness. All of the Hell Elephant's trampling power was cancelled out, and all of the destructive power disappeared without a trace. It was as if all of the power had been wiped out by a great power. What? After the flow of time returned to normal, the many panicked invincible demons were stunned. They had planned to flee and avoid Cecilio the Hell Elephant's attack. However, at this moment, Cecilio the Hell Elephant's attack disappeared without a trace. If it weren't for the fact that their senses were very real, they would have thought that what had just happened was an illusion. However, Cecilio the Hell Elephant was the most dumbfounded of all. It wasn't angry, just stunned and confused. It had no idea what had just happened. After all, even it didn't know how its strongest attack had disappeared. It was as if it had fallen into a dream. Could it be that everything that had just happened was a dream? Fall. Before Cecilio the Hell Elephant could figure out what was going on, Xiaoping gently pointed at Cecilio the Hell Elephant. Boom. In the blink of an eye, Cecilio the Hell Elephant, who had been in midair, suddenly plummeted and smashed into the ground like a meteor, creating a huge crater. Suddenly, Cecilio the Hell Elephant's body was covered in dense chains formed by the law of gravity. They immediately suppressed Cecilio the Hell Elephant. It was as if a trillion mountains were pressing down on Cecilio the Hell Elephant. No matter how strong Cecilio the Hell Elephant was, it couldn't break free. Damn Fengdu, what did you do? What did you do to me? Let go of me. Cecilio the Hell Elephant was dumbfounded. It realized that even with its invincible brute force, it couldn't get up from the ground at this moment. It was as if its limbs were sealed. No matter how hard it tried, it couldn't break free from the terrifying gravity. This was simply the greatest torture for Cecilio the Hell Elephant, who had always been domineering. It roared and tried to break free. However, the law of gravity was condensed from the origin of the entire Green Lotus Hell. It was equivalent to a high-level plane of hell coming to suppress invincible demons. No matter how angry Cecilio the Hell Elephant was, it couldn't break free from the law of gravity's seal. At this moment, it was as weak as the most ordinary demon. It can't be. When the invincible demons saw this scene, endless fear surged in their hearts. They couldn't help but gulp, and a look of disbelief appeared on their faces. Cecilio the Hell Elephant was a terrifying invincible demon. Could be said to be a half-step demon god. But now it was like a baby that couldn't resist Fengdu at all. If they hadn't witnessed this scene, they would never have believed such a fact. Chapter 28:30. This fellow? The invincible demons trembled. Previously, they thought that Devil Fengdu had used some means to kill invincible demon Felipe. Perhaps he had some Hell Dharma treasure on him. But now, it seemed that this fellow hadn't even used a Dharma treasure. He had defeated Cecilio the Hell Elephant with his bare hands. Furthermore, he had easily subdued him. If they hadn't seen this scene with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. This fellow was clearly an invincible realm demon at most. How could he possess such terrifying strength? Could it be that this fellow had already advanced to the God-fiend realm? At that instant, the Hellhound Kashmir moved. His movement was as swift as a thunderbolt and he pounced at Xiaoping in an instant. Bloodline superpower, Heavenly Dog engulfs the moon. The Hellhound opened its mouth as though it had turned into a black hole. It produced a boundless devouring force, as though it could completely digest the enemy once it swallowed it. This was the terrifying bloodline superpower of the Hellhound. If it devoured the enemy, it would be impossible for the enemy to escape. Legend had it that the three-headed hellhound from the God-fiend era was the watchdog of hell. It had 3 heads: heaven-devouring, earth-devouring, and God-devouring. There was nothing it couldn't devour. Any enemy would be devoured cleanly by the three-headed hellhound, leaving nothing behind. Although the hellhound Kashmir had only inherited a portion of the three-headed hellhound's bloodline, its bloodline superpower, Heavenly Dog Engulfs the Moon, was extremely terrifying. It was said that even a medium-sized hell plane had been devoured by it. Even an invincible demon would die if it was swallowed by the hellhound Kashmir. Boom. In the next second, Xia Ping's entire body was swallowed by the hellhound Kashmir. He instantly entered its dimensional stomach and vanished in midair. No way. That devil Feng Du was swallowed by the hellhound Kashmir? The invincible demons were dumbfounded. They thought that devil Feng Du was invincible. Even Cecilio the hell elephant was easily suppressed. How could the other invincible demons be a match for him? However, just as he said that, the hellhound Kashmir, who was hiding at the side, took the opportunity to attack. With lightning speed, it instantly devoured devil Feng Du. The speed at which the situation changed exceeded their imagination. What a laughable demon, Feng Du. Do you think you can dominate hell with just this bit of ability? Even if you can suppress the infernal elephant Cecilio, a moment of carelessness will still kill you. The hell dog, Kashmir, said arrogantly, seemingly looking down on Xia Ping. As expected of the hellhound, Kashmir. He is too powerful. The invincible fiends were filled with admiration. They had to admit that Feng Du was indeed powerful, but in the infernal realm, strength alone wasn't enough to guarantee victory. Even a weak demon could defeat a powerful demon to a certain extent. If a powerful demon was careless, it could also be killed by a weak demon. This was clearly an example. This demon Feng Du was too arrogant. In a moment of carelessness, it was destroyed by the hellhound Kesley, dying without a complete corpse. It's nothing. No one can stop my heavenly dog engulfs the moon. Anyone who enters my stomach will die. The hellhound Kesley was extremely arrogant. At this moment, Xia Ping's body appeared in the belly of the hellhound Kesley. He sensed that he was in a dimensional stomach just like the stomach of a Taotai. Although the digestive ability of a hellhound was not as terrifying as that of a Taotai, its dimensional stomach was like a black hole, producing an extremely powerful pressure and digestive ability. Even if an invincible fiend entered its stomach, they would be crushed into dregs by the pressure of the black hole. Even if they could not be crushed into dregs, they would be trapped in its dimensional stomach forever. This was the terror of the hellhound Kesley. Even if it could not defeat its opponent, it could still seal the enemy in its stomach. Burn. Xia Ping's expression was calm, without the slightest bit of fear. There was nothing in this world that could trap him, yet this hellhound Kesley wanted to trap him. It was simply insane. Rumble, in an instant, terrifying infernal golden crow flames erupted from his body. They instantly ignited, forming a sea of fire that filled the sky and exploded in the dimensional stomach. At this moment, it was as if a sun had suddenly risen from the dark dimensional stomach. The heat released could simply burn the 4 seas and evaporate the 5 mountains. Even the void of hell could not withstand the burning of the infernal golden crow flames. Void monsters that came into contact with it would definitely die, let alone the dimensional stomach of the hellhound. Dong dong dong. In the next second, the dimensional stomach of the hellhound Kesley exploded. The terrifying infernal golden crow flames pierced through it, and thousands of lava caves appeared. It was as if its entire body was going to be torn apart. Originally, the hellhound Kesley had planned to show off in front of the invincible fiends and continue to brag. However, at this moment, it could not help but let out a shrill scream, like a pig being slaughtered. It felt as if its body was about to melt. The entire dimensional stomach exploded, as if it would be burned to ashes by the flames in the dimensional stomach in the next second. What's wrong, Kesley? The invincible fiends were all shocked. They had no idea what was going on. They looked at Kesley's current transformation in shock. They did not know why the hellhound would let out such a scream. Of course, they also felt the terrifying and extremely dangerous heat erupting from Kesley's body. Come out. Kesley was so scared that he peed his pants. He could not trap this demon Feng Du any longer. Otherwise, the power of the flames alone would be enough to burn him into a pile of roasted meat. He opened his mouth and the dimensional stomach wriggled. In an instant he spat out Xia Ping, who was in the dimensional stomach. With a boom, Xia Ping's figure appeared in midair again. His body was burning with terrifying dark golden flames, and he looked like a demon god that had walked out of the chaotic void. All the invincible fiends could feel the demon god aura that had condensed from Xiaoping's body. It was simply overwhelming. The bloodlines in their bodies were trembling non-stop. "Oh, don't you want to swallow me? Continue swallowing. Why aren't you swallowing me? Don't you want to digest me? Why are you in such a hurry to let me out?" Xiaoping raised his eyebrows and looked at Kesley. "Damn it. Where did you come from? What kind of flames are these? Even my hellhound's stomach can't digest them?" Kesley was both shocked and furious. He had gone crazy. 4 ordinary fiends, ordinary flames would not be able to cause any damage to their dimensional stomach. However, the flames on this brat's body were different. They were too terrifying and could practically burn everything. He had never seen such terrifying flames before. Even he could not withstand them. Chapter 28:31. Although the flames had only appeared for an instant, they had left an unforgettable memory for Kashmir. If he had been a second late and spat out the kid, he would have been reduced to ashes. This was a memory of a narrow escape from death. Now his body was trembling. One could imagine how furious he was at this moment. He wanted nothing more than to kill Xiaoping. He was an invincible demon, a true demon overlord that dominated hell. How could he have almost died? "You're too noisy. Pass out." Xiaoping could not be bothered to talk nonsense with Kashmir. He punched through the air. What? The hellhound Kesley's hair stood on end as he sensed endless killing intent and danger. Although this was a simple punch, he could sense that this punch seemed to have distorted time and space, causing time to come to a standstill. On the surface this punch seemed very slow, but in reality, it was unbelievably fast. Even though he was very far away, it still arrived in an instant. It was already difficult for him to face this punch. Now that he had been seriously injured by the flames of the Golden Crow of Hell, how could he block such a terrifying punch? In fact, not to mention being unable to block it, it was impossible for him to even dodge it. In the next second his head was hit by the punch. He did not even have time to scream. His huge body fell from the sky and smashed into the ground. Boom. The hellhound, Kashmir, was smashed into the ground, creating a large crater. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and foamed at the mouth. Then he fainted. Fortunately, Xiaoping had held back and did not use his full strength. Otherwise, Kashmir would not have just passed out. He would have been killed on the spot, his head exploding. Kashmir. Many invincible demons could not help but shout when they saw this scene. 2 extremely powerful invincible demons had been beaten to the point that they could not fight back in such a short time. They had almost passed out. How could the combat power of Fengdu be so terrifying? We can't let this kid show off. He's too much of a threat. That's right. Let's attack together. Kill this kid and turn him into ashes. Let's not waste time here. Let's attack together and unleash our divine abilities with all our might. The remaining invincible fiends roared. Their divine senses intertwined with each other. Almost in an instant they made up their minds to kill Fengdu. This was because the Fengdu demon was too terrifying. Its individual strength could be said to be the strongest. Any invincible demon fighting alone was not a match for the Fengdu demon. If they didn't join forces and annihilate this fellow here, then they would simply be sitting on pins and needles in the future. They had to eliminate this kid here. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the blink of an eye, many invincible demons attacked at the same time, displaying terrifying bloodline supernatural abilities, forming a terrifying torrent of laws that crushed towards Xiaoping. Rumble, in an instant, the entire sky above the Green Lotus Hell was suffused with terrifying torrents of energy of the laws, and they erupted with 7 colors. Some were torrents of lava, some were extremely cold, some were thunderbolts, some were spreading floods, and some were overflowing with poison. These terrifying torrents of laws crushed over at the same time, like a natural disaster of the apocalypse. Perhaps even an ordinary high-level hell plane would not be able to withstand such terrifying destructive power, and would be torn to pieces. And with such destructive power, forget primeval saints, even invincible saints would be beaten half to death if they were hit by this attack. The laws of life and death in their bodies would also be shattered. God Artifact, the Book of Karma. In that instant, Xiaoping took out the God Artifact, the Book of Karma. Immediately, the book flipped open, turning into a book of pages. Each page was engraved with hell's runes, as if it recorded the endless laws of karma, containing the great Tao, heaven and earth, life and death, origin and other powers. The pages of the Book of Karma instantly wrapped around Xiaoping's body, turning into a huge ball of karma that protected him from the inside out, forming an absolute barrier of karma. Under Xiaoping's full power, the Book of Karma erupted with unprecedented power. Even more karma runes appeared, as well as the power of the laws of karma. Dong dong dong. In the next second, the torrents of laws of the invincible demons bombarded the barrier of karma. But the torrents of laws of the invincible demons couldn't penetrate the barrier of karma at all. Instead, they were wrapped up and reflected back at the invincible demons. Fuck, what the hell is going on? There's even a rebound? Is this a joke? Fuck, what the hell did Fengdu do? I can't accept this, I can't accept this. There's even a rebound when attacking. This is too shameless. The invincible demons' eyes turned green when they saw this scene. They couldn't imagine this scene at all. It had to be known that in order to kill Xiaoping, they had used all of their strength in this attack. It could be said to be the strongest attack of the invincible demons. Moreover, this was the joint attack of 106 invincible demons, erupting with a flood of energy. One could imagine the power of this attack. Any invincible evil demon standing here would probably be blasted into ashes. If such an attack was used against an enemy, the invincible demons would be satisfied with its power. But if such an attack was used against them, it would be a fatal crisis. To be honest, they didn't expect the Fengdu demon to have such an ability to reflect all of their torrents of laws. This was too absurd. Was there still any justice in the world? Rumble in an instant, the torrents of laws of the invincible demons returned along the way and bombarded them. Immediately, there was a world-shaking explosion that spread for hundreds of thousands of light years. The destructive power was simply unimaginable to the other demons. This was a collision between laws. The power was even more terrifying than the explosion of a star. It was as if this power could completely annihilate everything in the area and turn them into ashes. Ah! The invincible demons let out shrill screams. Their bodies seemed to be bombarded by the merciless torrents of laws. They were simply blown out of their wits and almost turned into ashes. An hour later, the energy of the torrents of laws of the invincible demons finally dissipated. The area within hundreds of thousands of light years was flattened. A small part of the Blue Lotus Hell was damaged because of this battle. Fortunately, this was near the demon god's ruins. There weren't many low-level demons here. Otherwise, who knew how many demons would have died? They're not dead yet? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He sensed that the remaining 108 invincible demons were not dead yet. They had expended a lot of effort to barely block this attack. Even so, this attack had completely injured them. They were on the verge of death and no longer had the strength to resist. Chapter 28-32. It's good that they didn't die. Xiaoping touched his chin. He had planned to let the world tree refine them into the fruit of life and death if all these invincible demons died. He didn't expect them to be so tenacious that none of them died. If all of them were killed just like that, it would be a waste of God's gifts. He could use the Nether God curse to control these invincible demons completely while they were heavily injured and had no way to resist. This way, all these invincible demons would be his subordinates, and he would have 108 invincible demons as his subordinates. Wouldn't he be able to sweep across the hell world then? He didn't hesitate and immediately condensed the Nether God curse, which turned into twisted Nether God runes that were dark gold in color. Swish, swish, swish. In the next second, these Nether God runes instantly entered the invincible demons' bodies. Damn it, what did you do to us? Stop. Stop right now. The invincible demons' hair stood on end. They felt great danger. Once these strange runes entered their bodies, they would definitely be in great trouble. However, they had already been heavily injured by Xiaoping. Even the Hell Elephant and Hell Dog were unable to fight back and were vomiting blood on the ground. How could they resist? Well, it didn't take long for the Nether God curse to instantly enter the deepest part of their souls. They were like parasites, entangling with their souls and fusing with them. It's over, it's completely over. The invincible demons' faces turned completely green. They felt that after the Nether God curse entered their souls, they had fused with Fengdu's soul in front of them. It was as if Fengdu could instantly take their lives with a single thought. Fengdu could even sense any thoughts they had. However, for some reason as time passed they became calmer. It was as if they had gotten used to it and even developed a good impression of Xiaoping. This was the terrifying part of the Nether God curse. It could unknowingly affect the thoughts of the demons who were affected by the Nether God curse, increasing their favorable impression to the greatest extent. Moreover, the longer it lasted, the more severe the influence would be. In the end, they would become Xiaoping's loyal servants. At the same time, the Nether God curse also contained the bloodline power of the Golden Crow of Hell. They would also be eroded by the power of the Golden Crow of Hell and slowly turn into the Golden Crow's dependents. In fact, let alone these invincible demons, even demon gods would find it hard to resist the influence of the Nether God's curse. Not bad. Xia Ping was very satisfied. After this battle, the danger of the burning hell had been completely resolved. He had unified all the fiends in the Green Lotus Hell. At this moment he could be considered the true lord of the Green Lotus Hell. With 108 invincible demons in his hands, he could simply sweep through everything and be invincible. If he were to bring this power to the modern universe, it would probably be another peak race. After all, the human race currently only had 9 invincible sages, which was a far cry from the Green Lotus Hell, let alone the Abyss World. Of course, if it was just the Green Lotus Hell, a high-level hell plane, it would still be difficult for it to compete with the Abyss World. It was said that the Abyss World had at least 3,000 invincible realm abyssal demons. With this power, it could rival the modern universe. However, strength depended not only on the number of invincible realm saints, but also on the number of divine artifacts. Sometimes, a powerful artifact could rival dozens of invincible saints, or even render hundreds of invincible saints helpless. And the human race relied on the power of several divine artifacts to stand at the peak of the universe and resist the attacks of the abyssal demons. Although the human race couldn't kill these abyssal demons couldn't break through the defense of the human race either. They could barely maintain the situation in a state of balance. Master. At this moment, all the invincible demons cupped their hands at Xia Ping. They also knew that they were completely no match for this powerful demon Fengdu, and there was no way they could resist. At the same time, under the influence of the Nether God curse, they had no choice but to acknowledge Xia Ping's position in the Green Lotus Hell. But even so, they still felt a little uncomfortable. After all, they were all invincible demons in the past, and they belonged to the overlord level of the Green Lotus Hell. How could they submit to someone else? Now that they were forced to submit to Xia Ping, one could imagine how sullen they felt. But Xia Ping didn't care. With the passage of time, they would slowly be convinced. It seems like a lot of places have been destroyed. Xia Ping looked around. Although his battle with the invincible demons just now was not very long, the destruction caused was extremely shocking. Hundreds of thousands of light years in radius was smashed to pieces. If it was still the Green Lotus Hell from before, it would probably have been destroyed. But now the Green Lotus Hell was incomparably sturdy. Even if some of the mountains were destroyed, there was no way to hurt its foundation. Let's recover. In an instant, Xia Ping's consciousness communicated with the origin of the Green Lotus Hell, and in an instant he activated a huge amount of origin power. Rumble, immediately the earth shook, the mountains surged, the rivers surged, and the sea turned into mulberry fields. In just a few breaths, hundreds of thousands of light years returned to its original state, as if nothing had happened. What? Seeing this scene, the pupils of the Hell Elephant, Cecilio, and the other invincible demons shrank. Their eyes were filled with shock, and they looked at each other in disbelief. This was simply a miracle. Even if they had reached the realm of invincible demons, they couldn't do this. After all, destruction was always simpler than creation. Master of a high-level hell's plane. Master is already the master of a high-level hell's plane. One of the invincible demons couldn't help but cry out. It recalled countless years of memories and immediately realized that only a master of a high-level hell's plane could do something like this. Only a demon recognized by the origin of the Green Lotus Hell could do such a godlike thing. No wonder it's so easy to beat us up. The Hell Elephant, Cecilio, and the other invincible demons finally understood why Xia Ping could easily crush them, even though he hadn't reached the demon god realm. That was because he had become the master of the Green Lotus Hell. As the master of the Green Lotus Hell, he could mobilize the origin power of the entire Green Lotus Hell at any time. Although they were invincible demons who controlled the laws of life and death, how could they resist the origin power of an entire high-level hell's plane? It was like facing the power of the entire world. There was no way they could win. Most importantly, they were in the Green Lotus Hell. Fighting in this kid's home field was no different from courting death. Sogu website. Chapter 2833. To be honest, as the ruler of a high-level hell plane, it wasn't like he didn't have any weaknesses. After leaving a high-level hell plane without the support of the plane's origin power, his strength would be greatly weakened, and he would regain his original combat strength. But as a plane ruler, he was an invincible existence in the plane. Even invincible demons would be easily suppressed. They wouldn't be able to fight back. If they'd known this, they definitely wouldn't have foolishly stayed in Green Lotus Hell to fight Xia Ping. They would have run away a long time ago. In fact, if a high-level hell plane had a ruler, the other invincible demons would immediately run away. They definitely wouldn't stay and wait for death. Unless there were invincible demons willing to submit to such a plane ruler and serve him as their master. In fact, there were many such invincible demons. After all, there were many terrifying void monsters in hell. These void monsters slaughtered everywhere. Even invincible demons couldn't stop them and would be devoured. But if a high-level hell plane had a ruler, it would greatly increase the plane's attack power and defense power. It would become an extremely safe fortress. In this way, in order to protect their lives and avoid the void monster's pursuit, these invincible demons were also willing to submit to the plane ruler. Of course, there were also some invincible demons who were unwilling to submit. They would just run away. For example, the hell elephant, hell dog, and other invincible demons were like this. After all, we are all demons of the invincible realm. Why can you act like a tyrant over my head and point fingers at me? No demon of the invincible realm will be convinced of this. Kings, marquises, and generals are better than each other. In fact, they were demons who left from other high-level hell planes. Their goal was to find a masterless high-level hell plane and become the ruler of this plane. They would reach the pinnacle of their lives. However, they never expected that they would become Xia Ping's captives before they could even succeed. They were even controlled by him. They wanted to cry but had no tears. They were so regretful that their intestines turned green. If they'd known this, they wouldn't have come to Green Lotus Hell. Alright. Remember to keep the same state when you go back. Don't tell other demons that Green Lotus Hell already has a ruler. Understand? Xia Ping warned. His eyes were very fierce. Yes, master. Upon hearing this, the hell elephant, Cecilio, and the other invincible demons shivered. They immediately understood what Xia Ping was thinking. Once the news of the Green Lotus Hell's ruler got out, the other invincible demons wouldn't come. However, if news of this didn't spread, the other invincible demons would think that this was an ownerless place where they could compete with other invincible demons. It was a good place to go. Now that the news had been cut off, the other invincible demons had no idea what was going on. They had come here foolishly, thinking that this was some kind of gold mine. In the end, he was captured by Xia Ping and instantly became a slave, a prisoner that could never be freed. This was such a tragic thing. This was how they were. They didn't know anything and were still fighting for supremacy here. In the end, he was taught a lesson by Xia Ping and planted with the Nether God's curse. He would never be able to get rid of it in this lifetime. Despicable. He was too despicable and shameless. He could even think of such a shameless and evil way of doing things. How was this a high-level hell plane? It was simply a slave's nest. He would catch every single one that came. Thinking of this, the faces of the hell elephant, Cecilio, and the other invincible demons turned green. They finally understood how they had fallen into the hands of this kid. It turned out that it was all a conspiracy. It was all a scheme. However, such a plan wasn't something that any demon could pull off. After all, it was easy to defeat invincible demons, but it was very difficult to subdue invincible demons. Not all demons were like Xia Ping, who had the Nether God's curse to control other invincible demons. Only with such a method could they carry out such a plan. Also, apart from this news that can't be leaked, do you have any other friends or relatives? Demons whose strength has reached the invincible realm? Let them come to the Green Lotus Hell as guests. Xia Ping said carelessly, of course you can't tell them my identity. You can just tell them that you're inviting them to the Green Lotus Hell for a tour and a simple meal or something. Eat your balls. The invincible demons' mouths twitched. How was this inviting them over for a meal? It was clearly a meal for the last one. Basically, one of them would be unlucky if they came. There was absolutely no reason for them to survive. It seemed that this shameless demon not only wanted to trick them, but also their friends and relatives. How despicable and shameless was this? He was simply a demon among demons. This bastard wanted them to betray their teammates. However, after hearing these words, their minds became a little active. After all, even if they were unlucky, they couldn't just let the other demons get away with it. Moreover, they had all fallen into Xia Ping's hands. They couldn't get rid of them for the rest of their lives. They might as well trick them one by one and make the Green Lotus Hell completely stronger and become the strongest in hell. In this way they would also be able to rise with Xia Ping. Master, the friendship between demons is thin. I'm afraid they won't believe what we said. An invincible demon said helplessly. Idiot. If you can't threaten them, then lure them. Who told you to be so stupid as to invite other demons over? Just tell them indirectly that treasures from hell are about to appear in the Green Lotus Hell. There might even be the demon god's inheritance, the Yellow Springs holy water and other treasures. I don't believe these demons won't be tempted. Xiaoping said disdainfully, right, do you see that? This is the legendary Yellow Springs holy water. If you show off in front of them with this Yellow Springs holy water, who can stand it? He waved his hand, and a gourd containing the Yellow Springs holy water appeared in his hand. No way, it's really the Yellow Springs holy water? The invincible demons' breathing quickened when they saw this, and their eyes turned red. As invincible demons, they had naturally heard of the Yellow Springs holy water. It was a treasure that even the demon god coveted, let alone the other demons. If such a treasure appeared in front of the other invincible demons, none of them could stand it. To be honest, even if they knew the truth, they still couldn't stand the temptation. The benefits were simply too great. Of course it's true. All of you, go to the other planes of hell and abduct those invincible demons back. The more the better. I won't reject anyone. Xiaoping said casually. If he could capture 3,000 invincible demons as slaves, he could sweep through the world and become the true lord of hell. Chapter 28-34. A month later. The injuries of the 108 invincible demons in the Hell of Green Lotus had healed. Xiaoping sent them out to abduct at least one invincible demon. They also spread out in all directions, flying towards the high-level hell planes they had stayed in before. After all, they had lived for countless years, and naturally knew many high-level hell planes. These high-level hell planes had different numbers of invincible demons. As long as they could abduct one, it would be considered a success. Of course, the more the better. According to Xiaoping's calculations, as long as he successfully abducted one of them, the Hell of Green Lotus would double in power. If he could abduct an average of 2, the power would triple. And so on and so forth. If he let these subdued invincible demons go out, wouldn't he be able to subdue them endlessly? Until the entire infernal plane was swept away by him. A few months later. The Poison Plane was a high-level hell plane far away from the Hell of Green Lotus. This hell plane didn't have a ruler, so many invincible demons lived here. Of course, this hell plane was very dangerous. There were poisonous swamps everywhere and terrifying poisonous gas filled the air. If it wasn't for the poison demons, they wouldn't be able to stay here for long. Even the invincible demons hated this kind of environment. After all, no one would be willing to live in a place surrounded by poisonous gas all day long, except for those monsters that were born with poison. After all, this was the environment that raised them. Instead, they would be the ones that couldn't adapt to going anywhere else. Whoosh. Meanwhile, an invincible fiend devil from the Hell of Green Lotus, whose name was Arturo, arrived in the middle of a poisonous forest, where a terrifying poisonous fiend devil lived. His strength had reached the invincible realm. You're right. The poison forest was very terrifying. Every tree seemed to be made of venom, and from time to time the venom flowed like acid, corroding the ground, turning the ground into a land of venom. At the same time, they constantly emitted a terrifying poisonous gas. Ordinary demons would die instantly if they smelled it, and their entire bodies would be poisoned. Arturo, why have you come to my poison forest? At this time, in the deepest part of the toxic forest, a grand voice rang out. A demon with the appearance of a frog walked out of the void. It was the invincible demon Arturo's target this time, the frog of myriad poisons, Sorb. Sorb could be considered a famous invincible demon in the toxic hell, and his battle prowess was limitless. It was said that with its venom, it could dominate the invincible realm. The liquid of 10,000 poison that filled its body could even poison void monsters to death. Any invincible demon would be afraid of it. On the other hand, the invincible demon Arturo had met the frog of myriad poisons, Sorb, by chance. The two of them could be considered acquaintances, but of course they weren't friends of life and death. After all, there was no such thing as a life-and-death friendship between demons. They were all on guard against the other party stabbing them in the back. Saul, I'm here to discuss a big deal with you, Saul said. The invincible demon Arturo laughed out loud and stated his intentions. He knew that the other party did not like to beat around the bush, so he went straight to the point. Jia, you want to discuss a big deal with me? Would you be so kind? You're not trying to kill me, are you? The frog of myriad poisons, Sorb cackled. Brother Saul must be joking. Who in the infernal realm can kill you? I'm afraid they'll be poisoned to death by your venom before they can even get close to you. The invincible demon Arturo flattered Sorb. He had been flattering Xiaoping a lot these days. Although he wasn't used to it at first, he had already become a qualified bootlicker. He was even a bit shameless now. Cut the crap. Hurry up and tell me what you're here for. The frog of myriad poisons Sorb was in a good mood. To be honest, being flattered by a demon of the same rank did feel good. After all, they were both invincible demons and no one needed to beg the other. Of course, on the surface, it still put on a fierce and impatient look. It couldn't let anyone see through its shrewdness and the secret satisfaction in its heart. It's like this. I believe Brother Saul knows that I've been to a high-level hell recently. It's called the Green Lotus Hell, and I'm fighting for the title of Overlord of the Green Lotus Hell. I hope to have the opportunity to become the master of this high-level hell. The invincible demon Arturo said. You can't be thinking of inviting me to the Green Lotus Hell to be your fighter, right? If that's the case, then there's no need to discuss it. The frog of myriad poisons Sorb sneered. He was doing well in the poison hell. Why would he want to go to the Green Lotus Hell? Did the Green Lotus Hell have such a boundless poisonous fog, such a boundless poisonous swamp, and such a unique natural environment where there was no daylight? If it didn't, why would he leave this heaven-like place and go to the remote wilderness? Wasn't this the same as going from the metropolis to the countryside? Brother Saul, don't be in such a hurry to refuse. Take a look at what this is. The invincible demon Arturo waved his hand and immediately took out a bottle. He immediately opened it, and a dense aura of the yellow springs filled the air. It seemed to contain the boundless power of hell. What is this? Why do I feel like this thing is infinitely beneficial to me? If I can obtain it, my cultivation will immediately increase by leaps and bounds. The frog of myriad poisons Sorb's pupils constricted. He looked at the bottle with a fanatical expression. He wanted nothing more than to snatch it. If Arturo wasn't a demon of the same rank as him, he would have already done so. At this moment he could feel the demon bloodline in his body boiling. This is the Yellow Springs holy water. The invincible demon Arturo smiled. What? The frog of myriad poisons Sorb couldn't help but shriek. This is the legendary Yellow Springs holy water, the #1 holy water in hell. Legend has it that even demon gods covet it. It's said that if you have a large amount of Yellow Springs holy water, you can cleanse your body and soul, achieve a spotless body, and even ascend to the demon god realm. That's impossible. Legend has it that this kind of holy water went extinct in the last era of hell. To this day, no demon has been able to obtain it. How did you get it? Where did you get it from? Hearing the words Yellow Springs holy water made him a little crazy. He couldn't even suppress the impulse in his heart. Looks like you're a demon who knows what's good for you. Seeing the frog of myriad poison Sorb's reaction, the invincible demon Arturo was very satisfied. Of course the Yellow Springs holy water hasn't gone extinct. In fact, it's hidden in the demon god ruins. Sogu website. Chapter 2835. You mean you found the Yellow Springs holy water in the demon god's ruins in the Green Lotus Hell? The frog of myriad poisons, Sorb, was a smart demon. He immediately understood the meaning behind Arturo's words. That's right. Arturo nodded. In fact, the Yellow Springs holy water wasn't the only thing in the ruins. There were also hellish treasures and even the inheritance of the demon god. It revealed a series of shocking information. What? The frog of poison's pupils constricted. Its breathing quickened and it almost couldn't control its impulses. But it was an invincible demon that had lived for countless years. It was still shrewd. After a moment of silence, it said, If that's the case, why did you tell me this information? If there really are so many treasures, wouldn't it be better for you to keep them all to yourself? To be honest, it was a little suspicious of Arturo's intentions. After all, demons weren't kind beings. They were vicious, cunning, and selfish. That was why it suspected there was a trap. That's a good question. If I could keep them all to myself, of course I would. I wouldn't need help from other demons. The problem is that the demon god's ruins are very dangerous. I alone won't be enough. The invincible demon Arturo had long been confident about this matter, so he answered smoothly, Most importantly, there are many invincible demons in the Green Lotus Hell, and they are also quite powerful. So I want to find help. I see. The frog of poisons nodded. This explanation was reasonable. After all, it was natural to find help from other demons in a dangerous ruin. Of course, I know what you're worried about. You're worried that I'm lying to you. In fact, you don't need to worry about this. With your strength, why would I dare to lie to you? Aren't I afraid of being hunted down by you? I wouldn't dare to do such a thing no matter how much courage I have. The invincible demon Arturo flattered him again. Indeed. Hearing this, the frog of poisons was indeed tempted. No matter how daring this kid was, he wouldn't dare to lie to the great frog of poisons. After all, not every invincible demon could withstand the wrath of the frog of myriad poisons. Its wrath could destroy an entire plane of hell and turn an area spanning billions of light years into scorched earth. If this fiend god ruin is dangerous, then wouldn't it be better to find more helpers? The frog of myriad poisons, Sorb, narrowed his eyes. Of course, the more helpers I have, the better, but they can't be too weak. Otherwise they will hold me back. Also, I don't know many friends, so it's hard to find a trustworthy, reliable, and invincible demon. The invincible demon Arturo was overjoyed. The fish had taken the bait. That's perfect. I know 7 or 8 brothers in the poison hell, and they've all reached the invincible demon realm. I believe they'll be of great help. You don't mind if I bring my brothers there, right? The frog of 10,000 poisons, Suabu, spoke. There was a hint of savagery in his eyes. He was also probing. I don't mind, of course I don't mind. The more brothers, the better. The invincible demon Arturo was overjoyed. This was simply more than fulfilling his master's mission. One by one he pulled out the carrots and brought out the mud. However, he couldn't show it, or else the frog of 10,000 poisons would definitely suspect him. Of course, the more brothers he brought, the better. Once he arrived at the Green Lotus Hell, these invincible demons would all be food on his plate. There was no way he could survive. That's good. Let's pick a day to set off. The frog of 10,000 poisons, Suabu, laughed coldly in his heart. He was full of confidence. With 7 or 8 brothers as helpers, even if this kid had a scheme, he wouldn't be able to withstand the anger of his brothers. This trip was a success. There was no room for error. He thought of the Yellow Springs holy water, the hell treasure, and the demon god's inheritance, and his eyes instantly burned with passion. This was a great opportunity to become a demon god, and he definitely couldn't miss it. To be honest, he wanted to kill Arturo and snatch the Yellow Springs holy water from him. However, after thinking about it carefully, he still needed this kid to lead the way and figure out the situation in the Green Lotus Hell, so he gave up for now. Elsewhere in the giant rock hell inside a palace hall. At this moment, Cecilio the Hell Elephant had arrived at this high-level hell plane. A banquet was being held in the hall, and more than 10 invincible demons were having a meal together. They were all Cecilio the Hell Elephant's friends. Brother, didn't you go to the Green Lotus Hell to strike it rich? Why do you still have the time to come back to the giant rock hell? Don't tell me you still haven't changed and want to come back here to fight for territory? An invincible demon said a little savagely. His words contained a sharp edge. To be honest, ever since Cecilio the Hell Elephant ran away from the giant rock hell, the other invincible demons divided up his territory and took over all his forces. In other words, the giant rock hell no longer had Cecilio the Hell Elephant's territory. There was no place for him anymore. If this guy still wanted to come back, he would have to face the siege of more than 10 invincible demons. After all, no one wanted to let go of the benefits in their hands. Who would be willing to do that? Of course, Cecilio the Hell Elephant's strength was still very ferocious. They didn't dare to offend him. However, no matter what, they had to warn him not to mess with them. Don't worry, I won't go back to the giant rock hell. What's so good about this godforsaken place? To be honest, I've already gained a foothold in the Green Lotus Hell. Although I can't be considered to have struck it rich, I've achieved a small goal in demon life. Cecilio the Hell Elephant said arrogantly. Achieved a small goal? What goal? Don't tell me you've already become the master of that high-level hell plane? The 10 invincible demons felt a little suffocated. If that was the case, then everyone's status was a little different. It's not that easy to become the master of a high-level hell plane. There are so many invincible demons in hell. How many of them can become the master of a high-level hell plane? Cecilio the Hell Elephant said. That's true. The 10 invincible demons immediately heaved a sigh of relief. If the Hell Elephant really became the master of a high-level hell plane, then this guy would be above them. Wouldn't they be inferior to him in the future? However, although I didn't become the master of a high-level hell plane, I obtained a good thing in the Green Lotus Hell. Cecilio the Hell Elephant's tone changed. Oh, what good thing? They were all curious. This thing. Cecilio the Hell Elephant made a grabbing motion and instantly pulled out a black spear. That was the Hell Spear that Xia Ping had temporarily given Cecilio the Hell Elephant to act cool. As soon as the Hell Spear appeared, it immediately erupted with terrifying hellish energy. It simply swept through the void of hell for hundreds of thousands of light years, causing countless demons to tremble and prostrate in submission. What? The 10 invincible demons' hair stood on end. They simply wanted to escape from this place immediately. They seemed to have sensed the aura of death emanating from the black spear. It was as if this black spear had once killed a demon god. Third sect leader. Chapter 28:36. What's that? A dozen invincible demons couldn't help but cry out. They could sense the terrifying power contained within it, enough to destroy invincible demons. Once it exploded, it would be earth-shattering. To be honest, if it weren't for the invincible demons here, they would have long since fled. How would they dare to stay in such a dangerous place? This is a hellish treasure I obtained from the Green Lotus Hell. It's called the Hell Spear. Cecilio the Hell Elephant was secretly delighted at the sight of his gang of scoundrels. However, on the surface he maintained a nonchalant expression, indicating that this was nothing. Hell Spear. One of the invincible demons exclaimed. No way. Isn't this the legendary treasure of the Hell's jailers? Legend has it that the jailers wield the Hell Spear and can even slay demons. It's said that such treasures were destroyed in the last era of Hell. They don't exist in this era at all. You actually obtained a Hell Spear from the Green Lotus Hell? That's right. I didn't expect you to know your stuff. This Hell Spear is the spear of the Hell's jailers and it's captain level. It's incomparably powerful, Cecilio the Hell Elephant said calmly. To be honest, when Xiaoping took out the Hell Spear he almost pissed his pants. He didn't expect there to be such a terrifying hellish treasure left in Hell. If he was stabbed by the Hell Spear, even if he didn't die, he would be half crippled. The Hell Spear contained terrifying destructive power. Even invincible demons couldn't withstand it. You actually obtained such a treasure. I wonder if you've tried its power, brother? Another invincible demon couldn't help but ask. The other invincible demons also looked at Cecilio the Hell Elephant curiously. Of course I've tried it. Its power is SOSO. With this Hell Spear I can only fight 10 at most and kill 1 or 2 along the way. Cecilio the Hell Elephant said nonchalantly. What? You can fight 10 at once with this Hell Spear and kill 1 or 2 along the way? And you call that SOSO? The invincible demons beside him were so angry that their chests tightened. Pretend, keep pretending. One by one the invincible demons bared their teeth. They were so angry that they were half dead. It was clear the situation was very clear now. This guy had returned to the Boulder Hell to show off. He was showing off. After going to the Hell of the Green Lotus and obtaining some treasures, he came back to flaunt his wealth, bragging about how he had struck it rich in the outside world. With this magic treasure, one would be able to take on 10 demons at once. In fact, they would even be able to kill demons of the same level. What kind of terrifying combat prowess was this? If the ruler of a high-grade hell plane were to leave their original hell plane, their combat prowess wouldn't even be a match for Cecilio. Their status would instantly skyrocket. If the planar lords of the high-level hells were considered the overlords of hell, then an invincible devil like Cecilio would be a quasi-overlord. Even in other planes of hell, existences like Cecilio had a higher status than the lords of planes of higher hell. After all, those planar lords were only powerful in their own hell planes. Once they left, they were no different from ordinary invincible demons. But Cecilio the Hell Elephant was different. It was so easy for him to go anywhere. Perhaps this kid's true strength was enough to wrestle with those planar lords. If he could really do such a thing, it would be quite terrifying. Without a doubt, this guy had struck gold. He had struck gold. To be honest, they couldn't wait to kill Cecilio and snatch the Hell Spear. But when they felt the terrifying power contained in the Hell Spear, they were afraid because they weren't confident. Moreover, this guy was vicious and cunning. If he didn't have absolute confidence, he wouldn't have dared to take it out in front of them. Brother, I didn't expect you to be so powerful after a trip to the Hell of the Green Lotus. Things are different now. Did you obtain this magic treasure in the Hell of the Green Lotus? There shouldn't be a lot of treasures there, right? An invincible devil's eyes lit up as he probed. Hearing this, the eyes of the other invincible devils also lit up. They felt as if they were suddenly enlightened. Didn't this kid strike it rich after going to the Hell of the Green Lotus? They were all invincible devils of the same level. Why did this kid strike it rich while they had no choice but to bow down to him? Which invincible devil would be satisfied with such a thing? If this guy could do it, why couldn't they? Wasn't it just a matter of a hell treasure? If they could get it too, they might be able to surpass Cecilio and be on equal footing with him. No, it's just a run-down place in the wilderness. There's no treasure at all. I actually found this magic treasure somewhere else. Cecilio waved his hand and denied it flatly. He didn't get it in the Hell of the Green Lotus, but had accidentally found it somewhere else. Fuck, this matter was set in stone. It must have been obtained by the Hell of the Green Lotus. Seeing how this guy was denying it, he must be afraid that they would also go to the Hell of the Green Lotus to look for treasures and surpass this kid. What a shameless Cecilio. He'd struck it rich, but he didn't take his brothers with him. He'd help them get rich first and then he'd get rich later. How shameless. The dozen or so invincible devils exchanged glances. They were all shrewd people. How could they not see Cecilio's perfunctory attitude? All of them made up their minds. Brother, come, have a drink. This is a strong wine I've been saving for 1,000,000,000 years. It's called Ardent Spring. Because it's too precious, I couldn't bear to drink it for 1,000,000,000 years. Since we're happy today, let's have a few cups. At this time, one of the invincible devils took out a bottle of wine. A pained expression appeared on his face, but he couldn't bear to give up. In order to get this kid's secret, he'd made up his mind. How can I accept it? This is a fine wine you've been saving for 1,000,000,000 years. Last time I asked you to take it out, you couldn't bear to let me smell it. Why are you so generous now? Cecilio's eyes lit up. It wasn't easy to get such a miser to cut his meat. Look at you. You make it sound like I'm not generous. This so-called wine is meant to be drunk. Otherwise, what's the point of making wine? We're happy today. If we don't drink until we're drunk, how can we face our brothers who haven't seen us for so many years? That invincible devil shouted. Then I'll do as you say. Cecilio the Hell Elephant laughed. Chapter 28:37. After 3 rounds of wine, the invincible demons were a bit drunk. An invincible demon saw that the time was right and took the opportunity to ask, Brother, tell us, how did you get this artifact? If you can get rich, can you bring us along with you? The other invincible demons perked up. Hey, what's the relationship between us? No need to be so polite. Since you asked, I'll tell you in detail. That's right, I got this treasure in the Green Lotus Hell. Cecilio the Hell Elephant said decisively. As expected. The group of invincible demons looked at each other, understanding each other's intentions. This was something they had already expected. It can't be, right? Is it real or fake? Isn't the Hell of the Green Lotus just a nameless high-level hell plane? It said that it was attacked by void monsters and nearly wiped out all the demons. How can a place like that give birth to a treasure? One of the invincible demons tried to goad them. Hee, times are different now. The Hell Elephant Cecilio chuckled. You don't know this, but there were indeed many void monsters that attacked the Green Lotus Hell and even slaughtered all the devils inside. However, this group of void monsters had no choice but to foolishly attack a huge and boundless demon god ruin. As a result, they detonated the demon god restriction array inside and killed the group of void monsters. The result is obvious. After the void monsters died, their origin energy fused into the Green Lotus Hell and caused it to advance. It seems to be on the verge of advancing to the demonic god plane. What? Demonic god plane? Is that true? Hearing this, the invincible demons held their breaths. What kind of earth-shattering news was that hell lacked the origin energy for them to advance? One of the main reasons why the invincible demons couldn't advance was that hell lacked the origin energy for them to advance. In other words, it lacked the right environment. If a demonic god plane was born, it meant that the bottleneck for the demonic god plane had loosened. Hell's first demonic god might be born there. If that was the case, the entire hell would undergo earth-shattering changes. For a moment they felt suffocated. This bottle of hops was worth it. They didn't expect to obtain such important information. If they missed this opportunity, they would regret it for the rest of their lives. What are you talking about? What kind of demon am I? When have I ever lied? Besides, won't you know if I'm lying just by taking a look? How could I tell such a lie that can be easily seen through? The infernal elephant Cecilio said in disdain. The invincible demons couldn't help but nod in agreement. It was just as the hell mammoth had said. Even from the outside, one could tell what level this high-level plane of hell was. Moreover, there was no need to say such a lie that would be exposed in an instant. If that's the case, then wouldn't the Hell of Green Lotus be filled with treasures and resources? An invincible devil asked cautiously. It's not just a lot of treasures. There are treasures everywhere. The Hell Mammoth Cecilio shouted. Because the Green Lotus Hell is about to ascend to the demonic god plane, it has nurtured countless hell spirit herbs, hell ores and other precious resources. Most importantly, when the entire fiend god ruins collapsed, a large number of treasures fell out. And the hell spear in my hand was accidentally picked up from that place. Picked up? Hearing this, the invincible demon's faces turned green. What a lucky bastard. He actually picked up such a powerful hell treasure in the hell of Green Lotus Hell. Was there any justice in the world? All of them were filled with jealousy. If they went to the hell of Green Lotus, they would probably be able to pick it up too. Brother, I didn't expect you to pick up the hell spear. You're really lucky. An invincible demon said enviously. That's nothing. My hell spear is still considered weak. I heard that some invincible demons even obtained the Yellow Springs holy water. The hell mammoth Cecilio shook his head with a look of pity. What? The Yellow Springs holy water? The Yellow Spring holy water that even the devil god covets. The invincible demons couldn't help but stand up. They were extremely shocked. If the hell spear could only increase their combat strength, then the Yellow Springs holy water was the key treasure that could help them ascend to the fiend god realm. They couldn't sit still anymore. You're already shocked by this. Apart from these treasures, there are also many ruins from the hell era. There are even shrines that contain the fiend god's inheritance. The hell mammoth Cecilio continued to boast. Fiend god's inheritance. The invincible demons were dumbfounded. Their minds were completely blank. A series of major news had stunned them. To be honest, even though they were invincible demons, their hearts couldn't take it. Most importantly, the hell of Green Lotus Hell has been cleansed by the void monsters. Most of the demons have been killed. The hell of Green Lotus Hell is now an ownerless land. There aren't many demons fighting over it. It's a great opportunity. The hell mammoth Cecilio continued to boast. He expressed that the hell of Green Lotus Hell was a place with lots of money, treasures, opportunities, and less competition. If that's the case, why did you come back to the Boulder Hell instead of staying in the hell of Green Lotus Hell? An invincible devil asked curiously, asking the crucial question. Because I need helpers. The hell mammoth Cecilio had already thought of this excuse. It's too difficult for me to open the fiend god's ruins alone. I don't even know how long it'll take. So, I want to find a few reliable brothers to explore this new continent together. I see. The invincible demons were enlightened. They had entered the fiend god's ruins before, so they naturally knew how dangerous it was. Even invincible demons would face life-threatening danger if they went in. Therefore it was normal for him to look for helpers. Since that's the case, can you bring us over to broaden our horizons? An invincible demon asked. Of course, but if you guys get any treasures you have to split it 70-30. You guys take 30 and I'll take 70. The hell mammoth Cecilio demanded an exorbitant price. Damn this fucking greedy hell mammoth. The invincible demons' faces turned green. What a greedy fellow. They risked their lives to search for treasures, but this fellow actually wanted 70% of the profits. He was crazy about money. Of course that's not a problem. After all, brother, you're familiar with that place. Even without you leading the way, we'll still be rich. It's only right that we take the bigger share. Although this was what they thought, the invincible demons still pretended to agree to Cecilio's conditions. What bullshit 70% of the profits. When they reached the hell of Green Lotus Hell and figured out the situation, they would kick him away when he was useless. 70% of the profits? They wanted 100%. Of course, on the surface they still acted like they were all good brothers and wanted to get rich together. Haha, as expected of my brother. You really know the big picture. When I get rich and advance to the fiend god realm, I guarantee that you'll be my most loyal subordinate. With me eating the meat, you guys will definitely get the soup. The hell mammoth Cecilio laughed loudly. Drink your sister. The mouths of the group of invincible demons twitched. This guy really thought he was something. He hadn't even started and he was already thinking of becoming a demon god. This was simply a fool's dream. He had only drunk a few cups of wine and he was already this drunk. Chapter 28:38. In another place, the ice hell. This was an extremely cold hell. There were ice mountains and snowy lands everywhere. Strong winds howled and snowstorms ran rampant. Every drop of water turned into ice. It was a vast expanse of whiteness that seemed capable of freezing even demons. At this moment, the invincible demon hellhound Kesley arrived at this place. In a palace, a dozen or so invincible realm demons gathered. They were all invincible demons of the ice hell. They had high statuses and were also the hellhound Kesley's companions. Kesley, you said that you came back to the ice hell to get rich with us and go to the Green Lotus Hell with us. Is that true? You're not lying to us, are you? One of the invincible demons looked suspiciously at the impassioned Kesley. Although they were old acquaintances of Kesley, they didn't dare to believe that he would be so kind as to bring them along to get rich. It would be great if he didn't cheat them of their money. They didn't even dare to think about getting rich. Lie to you? What right do you have to say that I'm lying to you? You make it sound like I'm harming you by bringing you to get rich. Think about it carefully. With your intelligence and my abilities, do you think I can lie to you? The hellhound Kesley shouted. That makes sense. With our intelligence, there's no way you can lie to us. The group of invincible demons nodded. They all felt that it made sense. That's right. The hellhound Kesley said, just now I said that the Green Lotus Hell is a high-level hell plane. Moreover, it's about to advance to the demon god plane. If I'm lying to you, you can discover something fishy before we enter the Green Lotus Hell. You can turn around and leave, or you can instantly capture me and kill me on the spot. Think about it. You have more than a dozen invincible demons, but I, Kesley, am alone. Can I defeat more than a dozen invincible demons working together? Impossible. No matter how powerful you are, you can't defeat more than a dozen invincible demons working together. There's no doubt about that. An invincible demon had no doubt about this. If more than a dozen invincible demons working together couldn't kill the hellhound Kesley, then they might as well just die. If I wanted to deceive you, I would have to deceive you one by one. How could I deceive a bunch of you at once? Isn't that just asking for trouble? When the scam is exposed, it will be the day of my death. Do you think I am that stupid? Can it withstand the wrath of so many invincible demons? The hell dog, Kashmir, said righteously. Indeed, you can't possibly be that stupid. Once we find out that you're lying, we'll kill you without hesitation. The dozen or so invincible demons nodded. They were starting to believe hellhound Kashmir's words. Looks like everyone has reached a consensus now. There's no reason for me to lie to you all, and I don't have the strength to endure your anger. There's only one answer to that. That is, everything that I've said is true. My purpose for coming here is to bring you all to get rich and head to the Hell of Blue Lotus to plunder the treasures. The hellhound Kashmir said without hesitation. Yes, yes, yes. The dozen or so invincible demons could not help but agree with hellhound Kashmir's words. Besides, even if you fellows enter the Hell of Blue Lotus and discover that some things are different from what I said and you feel dissatisfied, you can still leave at any time. The hell dog Kashmir shouted, tell me, if you 10 or so invincible demons want to leave, do you think I, the hell dog, have the ability to stop you? Who in this hell plane can stop you fellows from leaving? It is impossible to stop us from leaving. No one in this hell plane has the ability to do so. One of the invincible demons said proudly. This was the confidence they had as invincible demons. Even if they could not defeat the invincible demons, if they wanted to flee, they could easily do so. Since there is no way to stop you fellows from leaving and I am no match for you fellows, what good items do you fellows have? Instead, I am worried that you fellows will turn against me after obtaining the treasures and snatch the treasures from me instead. The hell dog Kashmir said. Don't worry. We are all loyal demons. We will never do something like that. The 10 or so invincible demons patted their chests to show that they were loyal demons. The hell dog, Kashmir, immediately felt disdain. He had never seen any loyal demons before. These fellows were even more shameless than he was. However, as long as he could trick these 10 or so fools into the Hell of Blue Lotus, he would have completed his mission. That is true. Who knows what will happen in the future? At any rate, I am sincerely inviting you fellows here. If you fellows are unwilling, I will leave right now. Those who walk different paths cannot make plans together. The hell dog, Kashmir, retreated in order to advance. He indicated that if they still did not believe him, he would leave. Wait, brother. What are you saying? It is not that we do not believe you. It is just that we are somewhat doubtful. After all, for a hell plane with many treasures and few demons to suddenly appear in hell plane is truly unimaginable. An invincible demon hurriedly stopped him. That is why it is said that this is a fortuitous encounter that is unparalleled in the world. If you miss this opportunity, you won't be able to find it again. This is a land of gold. Whoever enters first will be able to reap the benefits. If you come late, you won't be able to reap the benefits. The hell dog, Kashmir, shouted, I am giving you fellows a chance to get rich and give you some pointers because we are brothers. If you were any other demons, I wouldn't even have bothered. Moreover, seeing is believing. Whether it is true or not, you fellows just have to follow me to the Hell of Blue Lotus. In any case, it won't take up much of your time. That is indeed the case. Then let's go, brother. It is not very far away anyway. The 10 or so demons were tempted. They were completely convinced by the hell dog Kashmir. In any case, there was no danger in going to the Hell of Blue Lotus, and the rewards were high. There was no reason for them to not go and take a look. If it was really different from what the hell dog Kashmir said, they could just leave. Was there anything in the world that could stop them from leaving? They were very confident about this. Hearing these words, the hell dog Kashmir was secretly delighted. This bunch of idiots had finally taken the bait. However, he still put on a calm expression. Cough cough. Since that is the case, then let's set off right now. A long night is fraught with trouble. The sooner we go to the Hell of Blue Lotus, the sooner we can get rich. He wanted to strike while the iron was hot. Otherwise, this bunch of invincible demons would change their minds after one night. Alright, then let's pack up and go to the Hell of Blue Lotus. The 10 or so invincible demons did not doubt him and immediately agreed. At the same time, the other 100 or so invincible demons in the Hell of Blue Lotus were also working hard to recruit people, tricking the invincible demons scattered in the surrounding hell plains into heading to the Hell of Blue Lotus one by one. This was a large-scale scam. Chapter 2839. A few months later. The invincible demons that had left the Green Lotus Hell brought their brothers back to the Green Lotus Hell one after another. They were extremely efficient. The first to return to the Green Lotus Hell was Cecilio the Hell Elephant. He was too fast. He brought 20 to 30 invincible demons back at once. Initially, there were only a dozen of them. However, the news had somehow leaked out. The other invincible demons in the Boulder Hell actually took the initiative to look for them, hoping to join this operation. After Cecilio the Hell Elephant repeatedly declined, they still forcefully joined this operation. As a result, the team suddenly swelled to the extent of 20 to 30 invincible demons. They arrived at the Green Lotus Hell in a grandiose manner. Oh my god, is this the Green Lotus Hell? What a majestic and vast high-level hell plane. It really has the aura and source energy of the demonic god plane. As soon as they arrived at the outer region of the Green Lotus Hell, they couldn't help but exclaim when they saw the vast and boundless Green Lotus Hell before them. They had seen many high-level hell planes. There were some that were even larger than the Green Lotus Hell. However, the most important thing about a hell plane wasn't the size, but the source energy it contained. The source energy contained in the Green Lotus Hell was incredible. It was something they had never seen in their lives. It was vast and boundless, like a boundless galactic whirlpool. It contained the image of a demonic god. Brother Cecilio is right. This Green Lotus Hell really has the potential to advance to the demonic god plane. In fact, it's in the process of advancing. We've struck gold this time. An invincible demon couldn't help but exclaim. To be honest, when it heard Cecilio's bragging, it didn't believe the other half. It still maintained a skeptical attitude. This was the suspicious nature of demons. However, after seeing the Green Lotus Hell, all its doubts were swept away. After all, a high-level hell that could advance to the demonic god plane had all sorts of treasures in it. The other invincible demons were also wild with joy. It seemed like they had made the right decision to follow Cecilio to the Green Lotus Hell. If they had hesitated, would they still have any leftovers? Would they still be able to get rich? If they missed this opportunity, they would definitely regret it for the rest of their lives. At this moment, they were feeling slightly regretful in their hearts. In fact, they'd heard about the Hell of the Green Lotus before. However, they didn't think much of it and thought that it was fake. In the end, the Hell Elephant Cecilio actually took advantage of them, becoming the first batch of unmatched fiends to enter the Green Lotus Hell. Then he became rich, becoming a tycoon in front of them, to the point where they even looked up to him a bit. If they had left with Cecilio, the Hell Elephant, they would have gotten their first pot of gold. It's alright, it's just so. From now on, this will be the place where I, the Infernal Elephant Cecilio, will rule. The Infernal Elephant, Cecilio, stood with his hands behind his back, looking high-spirited. It was still uncertain who would be the ruler in the future. The group of invincible demons laughed coldly. To be honest, who didn't want to become the overlord of this infernal plane and occupy endless resources? If they succeeded, they would most likely become a demon god in the future. How could they let Cecilio the Hell Elephant have the upper hand? However, they still needed Cecilio the Hell Elephant to lead the way and understand the situation. There was no need for them to fall out with him for the time being. All of them went up to flatter him, complimenting him continuously, but all of them harbored ulterior motives. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. It didn't take long before they entered the Green Lotus Hell. Instantly, they sensed the dense hell's origin energy rushing toward them, gushing into their bodies as if it was free. My god, the hell's origin energy is too dense. Cultivating here for a day is equivalent to cultivating in other high-level infernal planes for 10 to 20 days. This is too ridiculous. An invincible demon exclaimed, his body trembling in excitement. The number of demons here is really low. There are only so few demons in a radius of 100,000 light-years. It's as if this high-level infernal plane has just been born and belongs to the primitive era. It's not developed at all. So many Hell's origin stones, so many rich veins, billions of mines, and yet none of them have been exploited. Cecilio wasn't exaggerating at all. This is a land of gold that hasn't been exploited at all. Compared to the Hells of Boulders, the Hells of Boulders are practically backwater. There's no way to compare at all. We're rich, we're rich. We're really rich this time. One by one, the invincible demons couldn't help but shout out in excitement. The more they understood about the Green Lotus Hell, the more they felt that they had indeed arrived at a land of unparalleled treasures. Their bootlicking earlier was correct. Otherwise, how could they have arrived at such a land of treasures? Alright, where's the demonic god's ruins? An invincible demon hurriedly asked. It's at the center of the Green Lotus Hell. I can bring you guys there to take a look at the environment first. After that, we can start developing this place. Hell's elephant Cecilio said. Then we'll have to trouble you, brother. The group of invincible demons' tone turned much colder. Since Cecilio had brought them to the Green Lotus Hell, Cecilio probably didn't have much value anymore. There was no need for them to bootlick this kid like before. However, Cecilio didn't mind at all. He was very relaxed. So. Not long later, under Cecilio's lead, they arrived at the center of the Green Lotus Hell. But at this moment, a figure intercepted them at this place. This person was none other than Xia Ping, who had been waiting for a long time. An ancient demon? Why would he appear here? Could he be Cecilio's subordinate? The invincible demons were a little puzzled. They didn't expect an ancient demon to be so daring to block their path. That was simply audacious. At this moment, Hell's elephant Cecilio walked out and came before Xia Ping. He said respectfully, Master, I'm lucky to have completed the mission. The journey was long, so I'm a little late. I hope Master won't take offense. It's fine. You're the first to complete the mission, so you deserve to be rewarded. What's there to be guilty about? Xia Ping was very satisfied. Looking at the 30-plus invincible demons, he didn't expect Hell's elephant Cecilio to be so awesome. He managed to trick 20-plus invincible demons into coming back. If the other invincible demons were this awesome, wouldn't he be able to subdue 3,000 invincible demons in an instant? Of course, this was just a fantasy. Not all invincible demons were as awesome as the Hell's elephant. Master. Hearing these two words, the invincible demons' expressions changed drastically. Huge waves surged in their hearts. One must know what kind of person Hell's elephant Cecilio was. He was an invincible demon, an overlord-level existence. Yet, such an existence was only a subordinate of another demon, and he even addressed the other party as master. What kind of demon was so terrifying that he could subdue Hell's elephant Cecilio? In an instant their hair stood on end. They instantly understood that they had fallen into the enemy's trap. Chapter 2840. Cecilio, what did you do? One of the invincible demons roared and glared at Cecilio the Hell Elephant. While it didn't know what Cecilio the Hell Elephant had done, there didn't seem to be anything dangerous happening around them. After all, it didn't believe that a mere ancient demon could surround them. However, deep in its heart, it felt uneasy as though a disaster was about to befall it. The other invincible demons also had the same perception. After all, at their level they could already sense the danger of life and death, as well as the faint threat of fatal danger. Noisy. Xia Ping cast a sidelong glance and lightly said a sentence. Rumble. In an instant, the source energy of the entire Hell of the Green Lotus was mobilized. Boundless power of laws revolved and enveloped the 20 to 30 invincible demons. What? The invincible demons' hair stood on end. Their hearts were filled with extreme fear as their eyes were filled with disbelief. This was because they realized that they couldn't speak. It was as though a strong power of laws was restricting their mouths, preventing them from making any sound. But that wasn't all. At the same time, they realized that not only could they not make any sound, but they couldn't move their bodies either. They couldn't even use a single bit of their powers. It was as though they had been completely controlled in an instant. It was as though they were frozen in place. What's going on? What's going on? All the invincible demons were going crazy. This kid had merely said 2 words and they were all under his control. What kind of power was that? They had never seen such a terrifying demon before. It was simply extraordinary. Too strong. Cecilio the Hell Elephant at the side was filled with admiration. After this period of time, his master seemed to have gotten even stronger. Previously, he was merely familiarizing himself with the source energy of the Hell of the Green Lotus. Against them it was just a small test. But as time passed, he continued to familiarize himself with the source energy of the Hell of the Green Lotus. This made Xiaoping even stronger. He was several times stronger than before. Therefore, with just a single sentence he was able to immobilize the 30 invincible demons and completely control them. While he was still a demon god, he wasn't any different from a true demon god. Cecilio the Hell Elephant could clearly feel the boundless power of laws and was extremely shocked. Coupled with the curse of the god of the underworld, it was even more loyal to Xiaoping. Nether God Curse. Ignoring the invincible fiend devils, Xiaoping waved his finger, summoning the power of the golden crow of hell bloodline inside of him. He formed a series of nether god demonic curses, which he sent into the depths of the invincible fiend devil's souls. Even if these invincible devils were to forcefully resist, it was useless. In an instant, the nether god's curse forcefully broke through their soul defenses, completely controlling them as slaves. They could no longer resist and their lives were in Xiaoping's hands. It's over. It's all over. The faces of the invincible demons turned green. They could clearly sense that their souls had been marked with a soul brand. No matter what, they couldn't get rid of it. Their lives were in the hands of the enemy. I'll leave these demons to you. Teach them the rules here. Xiaoping said to Cecilio the Hell Mammoth. Anyway, these invincible demons were brought here by the Hell Mammoth, so it was best to leave them to the Hell Mammoth. Yes, master. Cecilio the Hell Elephant said respectfully. With a whoosh, Xiaoping's figure flashed and he left the place. Cecilio, I'll kill you too. The invincible demons glared at Cecilio the Hell Elephant with bloodshot eyes. They couldn't wait to tear Cecilio into pieces. If not for the nether god curse in the depths of their souls, they would have already done so. Brothers, show some respect. Don't get physical so easily. I'm your superior now. Cecilio the Hell Elephant said calmly. Get on your ass, you liar. You said that the Green Lotus Hell is rich and that the young demon lord will come quickly. I didn't expect it to be a trap. It's all fake. One of the invincible demons wished he could eat Cecilio the Hell Elephant alive. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. He knew he shouldn't have believed Cecilio's nonsense, saying that there were treasures everywhere in the Green Lotus Hell, and that he could get rich just by coming here. Now, not only did he not get rich, but he had also become a slave to other demons. Was there anything more miserable than this? They never expected something like this to happen even if they were beaten to death. I didn't lie to you guys. You guys saw the situation. There are indeed many treasures in this place, but there are very few demons. Treasures and minerals can be developed and picked up at will. When did I lie to you guys? Cecilio the Hell Elephant expressed his innocence. The invincible demons were furious. They were speechless. Indeed, most of the situation in the Green Lotus Hell was exactly the same as what Cecilio said. In fact, it was even better than when he said it. But who knew that there was such a terrifying person hiding in the Green Lotus Hell, who instantly subdued them and made them slaves, leaving them with no way to escape? The most terrifying thing was that 90% of the whole thing was true, and only 10% was fake. That was why they believed it without a doubt and fell for it. But you didn't say that there was such a terrifying person here. One of the invincible demons trembled. I told you that the Green Lotus Hell is filled with dangers. Although there are many treasures, there is a high chance of death. But you guys didn't believe me and thought that I was lying to you guys. I said that I didn't want to bring you guys to get rich, that I wasn't loyal enough. You guys forced me to bring you guys to the Green Lotus Hell. You guys came here on your own. Can you blame me? Cecilio the Hell Elephant shrugged. Bullshit. The invincible demons were furious. What did he mean by coming here on their own? It was clearly this bastard who lied to them, using benefits to lure them to the Green Lotus Hell. But they were still young and careless. They actually fell for this bastard's trick. Demons really couldn't be too greedy. Greed could kill a demon. Now they were extremely regretful. If time could be reversed, they wouldn't have come to the Green Lotus Hell even if they were beaten to death. How was this a place with treasures? It was simply a den of demons, a graveyard for invincible demons. In any case, you guys can settle down in the Green Lotus Hell with peace of mind. Earlier on, I tricked a bunch of invincible demons back. Next time you guys will have to do it personally. During this period of time I will train you guys well. Learn well. Don't be like a bunch of hotheads all day long, believing everything and not even realizing that you've been tricked. Cecilio the Hell Elephant said arrogantly. Motherfucker, he was still pretending. He was openly admitting that he was tricking them. The invincible demons nearly fainted from anger. And from what this bastard said, it seemed like he wanted them to do it personally to trick the other invincible demons back. Just what kind of place was this? Could it be that they had entered a den of scammers? Third sect leader. Chapter 2841. In the blink of an eye, another few months passed. During this period of time, the 108 demons who had left returned from various parts of hell one after another, and they also had a plentiful harvest of war. Of course, not every invincible demon was as strong as Cecilio in hell, who had tricked dozens of them into coming back. The other invincible demons had also tricked at least a few, and at most a dozen. With such numbers added up, there were at least 1,000 invincible demons in the Green Lotus Hell right now. These invincible demons were naturally controlled by Xiaoping's dark god curse. To be honest, such a large number of invincible demons was already comparable to the number of high-level combat forces in some of the older high-level hells. However, these invincible demons who had been forcefully subdued as slaves were all furious. They didn't dare to lose their temper at Xiaoping, but they lost their temper at the invincible demons who had tricked them into coming to the Green Lotus Hell. Arga! You liars! You will die a horrible death. You will give birth to children without eyelids. How could you do such an immoral thing? Do you have any conscience at all? Are you still demons? One of the invincible demons roared. After knowing that he had become Xiaoping's slave, he was completely enraged. To think that he had trusted his good brother, saying that he would be able to get rich after entering the Green Lotus Hell. But now he had become a prisoner and a slave. How could he fly? Hellhound Kashmir, come out. Come out. You have the guts to lie to us, but you don't have the guts to face us? What kind of hero is a coward? If I don't kill you today, I won't be an invincible demon. One of the invincible demons wanted to strangle Kashmir to death. Back then he had believed this bastard's bullshit, saying that this was an extremely safe place and that he could pick up any treasures he wanted. Fuck. Now that they had been captured as slaves and laborers, how were they going to get rich? One had to know that they were all overlords in their respective hells. They had millions of invincible demons under them, and they lived a life of luxury. How could they become slaves now? This kind of treatment was like heaven and earth. Fuck you bunch of fucking dogs. I knew that you guys were full of lies and didn't have any good intentions. It really was a trap. It doesn't matter if you're a slave, but you're not willing to accept it. You even implicated us as slaves. Is there a demon like you? Your conscience has been eaten by dogs, all eaten by dogs. The group of invincible demons cried out to the heavens and the earth, wailing loudly as if they were a gathering of the victims. Their shouts shook the heavens. Now they were filled with regret. After all, opportunities to get rich could not be found everywhere. There was no such thing as a pie falling from the sky. But back then they were all deceived by that fucker. The other party's glib tongue was like a deluge of heavenly flowers, and his tongue was like a lotus flower. It really made them feel like their hearts were covered with lard, and they were fooled irrationally. At that time, they didn't even notice that something was wrong and foolishly followed him. If they had been more careful and cautious, they might not have been fooled. But if they thought about it carefully, they wouldn't feel wronged even if they were cheated. After all, who would have thought that a dozen or so invincible demons couldn't even survive a single move from the mysterious and powerful demon Fengdu? They were instantly captured. They had never seen something like this in all their years of living. To be honest, they had seen a few high-level Hell's Planar Lords, but they had never seen one so terrifyingly powerful. It was beyond imagination, and its power was overwhelming. In fact, this had a lot to do with the Hell of the Green Lotus. The other high-level hells couldn't even compare to 1/10,000th of the Hell of the Green Lotus. The amount of power they could provide to the Planar Lords was limited. It was like how a general in the United States and a general in a small African country would receive the same amount of power from their country. That was why it was so shocking. What these invincible demons couldn't imagine was that Fengdu had the means to enslave invincible demons, and completely control them. In hell there were naturally ways to control demons, but there was not a single way to control invincible demons. No matter what, invincible demons were extremely powerful beings. They comprehended the laws of life and death, and their souls were powerful. How could they be controlled so easily, and their lives were in the hands of others. Only Xia Ping, who had inherited the bloodline of the Golden Crow of Hell, could do this so easily. Moreover, he could control so many invincible demons without any worries. These 2 points had fooled them. They didn't expect there to be such existences in hell. Get out here. Get out here right now. If I don't kill you, I won't let this end today. One invincible demon after another roared in the air. They were so angry that they almost died. They tried to find Kashmir and the other invincible demons, but no matter what they did, they couldn't find them. At this moment, Kashmir, the Hell Elephant, Cecilio, and the other invincible demons had gathered together. They appeared in another part of the Hell of the Green Lotus, temporarily hiding. What should we do? These guys seem very angry. Are they going to cause trouble for us everywhere? An invincible demon asked. What's there to be afraid of? We have Master's orders. We can use chicken feathers as arrows. If they don't accept it, we can ask Master to punish them. We'll make them suffer a fate worse than death. When that happens, they'll become obedient, Kashmir said carelessly. The Nether God curse could not only control the life and death of its enemies. It was even more terrifying than the band-tightening curse. It seeped into their souls. With just a thought, Xia Ping could make these demons suffer a fate worse than death. In truth, there were some invincible demons who were unwilling to accept it. They would rather die than submit. After being tortured a few times, they all became obedient, no longer daring to make any noise. That's right. We'll let them vent now. Tomorrow we'll take care of them. We'll let them know who the boss of the Hell of the Green Lotus is, Cecilio the Hell Elephant shouted. He didn't care about the roars of the invincible demons at all. After all, they had fallen into Master's hands. How could they run? Soon, these invincible demons will know how fortunate they are to become Master's slaves. Master's power can sweep through all of Hell. In the future, he will definitely become the ruler of Hell. Arturo, the invincible demon, said solemnly, his eyes shining. When the other invincible demons heard this, they couldn't help but nod. If this continued, Master would subdue the invincible demons one by one. Very soon, he would be able to subdue the invincible demons without a fight. When all the invincible demons became slaves, who in the Hell plane would be able to contend against their master? Becoming the ruler of Hell would be a piece of cake. At this moment, they were filled with unprecedented confidence. Chapter 2842. At this moment, in an unknown space in Hell, that was the nest of the void monsters. Countless void monsters were gathered here. They were filled with evil, twisted, terrifying, and dark auras, as though they were an amalgamation of boundless negative energy, representing an indescribable existence. It seemed like the souls of ordinary living beings would explode when they saw these void monsters. They would be corroded by the terrifying darkness, unable to withstand the contamination of such negative energy. At this moment, these void monsters seemed to be communicating, speaking in a mysterious void language. Are you ready? At this moment, a voice rang out. This voice caused the void to tremble. This wasn't any ordinary sound wave trembling. This was the void trembling. It was soundless and contained a unique frequency, similar to sound waves. It was also because of this that the demons thought that these void monsters didn't know how to speak and had no intelligence. In reality, they had already spoken, but the demons couldn't hear them at all. It was just like how humans couldn't hear ultrasonic and low sound waves. This was beyond the range of what the human ear could hear. The army has gathered. We're just waiting for the order. That's good. This time we must completely annihilate the Green Lotus Hell. We can't allow the previous failure to happen again. We can't afford to suffer too many losses. Don't worry. In order to destroy the Green Lotus Hell and kill the successor of the demonic god, this plan is foolproof. With the army here, we will definitely turn them into dust. That's right. The reason why that mysterious demon was so terrifying last time was purely because he borrowed the power left behind by the demonic god. The demonic god's power has already been exhausted. He definitely won't be so lucky this time. In order to destroy the Green Lotus Hell, we have gathered an endless army. They will definitely die this time. No demons can stop us. They will all be food. Many void monsters discussed, emitting an extremely evil aura that seemed to distort the void. That's good. Set off immediately and destroy the Green Lotus Hell. I want the successor of the demonic god to be buried with the Green Lotus Hell. From the depths of the void, a voice rang out, giving the order. So. In an instant, the huge void monster army moved. They were like a boundless black fog, containing terrifying dark and distorted energy. These void monsters were extremely fast, advancing towards the Green Lotus Hell. It seemed like it wouldn't take long for them to reach the Green Lotus Hell. Unknown darkness and terror were attacking the Green Lotus Hell. Meanwhile, in a palace in the Blue Lotus Hell, Xiaoping was cultivating in seclusion. He used the Nether God Curse to contract with thousands of invincible realm demons, and in fact he also got great benefits. Every invincible realm demon slave would give him a portion of origin energy, and it was extremely pure. The source energy accumulated by thousands of invincible realm demons was quite terrifying. Fortunately, Xiaoping's body was extremely strong, so he could completely devour and absorb the source energy. Xiaoping sat down cross-legged and meditated. His body was circulating an extremely dense amount of arcane energy. From the depths of the void, an endless amount of arcane energy surged towards him like a vast ocean. At the same time, the origin energy seeped into the depths of his sea of consciousness and poured into the 9 spaces in his sea of consciousness. With his body as the center, there seemed to be a series of terrifying energy ripples, covering a radius of hundreds of millions of light years, and ripples appeared in the void. All of the invincible fiends in the Hell of Blue Lotus could sense this peculiar energy vibration. Dong. At this moment, when the arcane energy reached its limit, the arcane energy in the 9 seas of consciousness was so abundant that it could not go any further. Some barrier in the depths of his sea of consciousness seemed to have been penetrated by the majestic energy. His whole body shook and it seemed like he had broken through a bottleneck. Late-stage archaic realm. Xiaoping's eyes shone with a frightening light. After advancing to the late-stage archaic realm, he felt that the internal space of every cell in his body had expanded by 1/3. At the same time, every cell could contain an enormous amount of world power. Endless arcane energy was infused into every cell in his body as if it was free. The arcane energy in his body was also increasing rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. But it was not just the arcane energy that was increasing, his soul power was also increasing crazily. Originally, his divine consciousness power could cover a distance of 20 million light years, but now it had reached a distance of 40 million light years, which was double. This was an extremely terrifying soul power. What kind of distance was 40 million light years? Even if one were to travel at the speed of light, it would take them 40 million years to cover that distance. To mortals, it was a distance that was unimaginable. It could be said that he could cover the entire star region with a single thought. His soul power had reached an extremely terrifying level. Perhaps even ordinary invincible saints would not be able to reach his soul power. Then, in the depths of his 9 seas of consciousness, there seemed to be densely packed fragments of the world law. It was as if all the world law was about to be completed. Once it was completed, he would have the chance to comprehend the life and death law and break through to the demigod realm in an instant. I've finally broken through? Xiaoping raised an eyebrow and opened his eyes. The mysterious power of the world law flowed in the depths of his pupils. He did not expect his speed of breaking through to be so fast. Not long ago he had only broken through to the middle stage archaic realm, but now he had actually advanced to the late stage archaic realm so quickly. But thinking about it carefully, this was also very normal. In fact, there were not many bottlenecks between the early stage, middle stage, late stage, and perfected archaic realm. The reason why it was so difficult for primordial saints to break through was because they needed to devour a large amount of world source power. It was because of these resources that restricted primordial saints from breaking through. If there was enough energy, they could quickly advance from the early stage archaic realm to the perfected archaic realm. Previously, Xiaoping had devoured a fruit of life and death and obtained the lifetime essence of an invincible realm demon. The benefits he obtained were too great. It was equivalent to the energy of an invincible realm demon's cultivation for billions of eras. This kind of energy was simply terrifying. But after being devoured by Xiaoping, his cultivation instantly increased crazily. At this moment, he had also contracted with thousands of invincible realm demons and obtained a large amount of origin energy from them. With the two stacked together, Xiaoping did not know how many years of effort to condense dermic powers and a large amount of cultivation time. That was why he had broken through so quickly. Now I should be able to fight a demigod one-on-one. Xiaoping clenched his fists and felt his shocking and tyrannical dermic powers. They were much stronger than before. At this moment, even if he did not rely on the supreme sacred weapon or the divine weapon, he would still be able to fight an invincible realm demon. Chapter 2843. Seems like it's time to thoroughly explore the demon god's ruins. At this moment, Xiaoping stood up and seemed to cause the void to tremble. In the past, he didn't have the strength to explore the demon god's ruins. After all, this place was extremely dangerous. Even invincible demons would die if they entered. But now that his cultivation had advanced to the late-stage archaic ancient realm, he was much stronger than before. That, coupled with the blessing of the essence of the hell of the green lotus, made him so strong that he could crush even invincible fiend devils in the blink of an eye. If he was in his current state, it wouldn't be a problem for him to explore the entire demon god's ruins. Moreover, it would be greatly beneficial to the hell of the green lotus evolution. After all, if the demon god's relic was completely integrated into the hell of the green lotus, the hell of the green lotus origin would instantly reach a terrifying level. It might even have a chance of becoming a demon god plane. Whoosh! Xiaoping didn't hesitate at the thought of this. With a flash, he used the hell's origin's power to traverse the void, pass through the many restrictive formations of the demon god's ruins, and enter the demon god's ruins again. This time he didn't bring any subordinates. He came in alone. After all, one person was enough to explore the demon god's ruins. If too many subordinates came in, they would only cause trouble. They wouldn't be of any use. The moment Xiaoping entered the city, all the evil spirits and demons in the city were alarmed. They felt Xiaoping's scorching aura, which was like the scorching sun, and he didn't bother to hide it. Whoosh! These evil spirits and devils rushed towards Xiaoping in a frenzy, treating him as a delicious meal. Too weak. Xiaoping stood in midair, looking down at the evil spirits and demons indifferently. Entering the fiend god ruins once again, Xiaoping felt different from before. Previously, he had to be careful to avoid the various demons and evil spirits. But things were different now. These demons and evil spirits were no longer a threat to him. Dong. In an instant, he waved his hand and the hundreds of thousands of evil spirits and demons in the city were swept away. They couldn't resist at all, nor could they resist Xiaoping's mighty power. However, these wraiths and evildoers did not die. Instead, they were teleported to the Gaia Avatar. This was because the Gaia Avatar needed the power of these wraiths and evildoers to grow. How can you refine this fiend god ruin? Xiaoping communicated with the will of the green lotus hell's origin. He had come to the fiend god's ruin not only to explore the treasures in the fiend god's ruin, but also to solve the problem of the fiend god's ruin. This was because if the blue lotus hell wanted to ascend to the demonic god plane, it had to be perfect and flawless, and the demonic god ruin was a malignant tumor within its body. If it wasn't removed, it would eventually leave behind hidden dangers. Buzz, it was then that the essence of the hell of the green lotus sent him a message. So that's how it is. All you need to do is destroy the array formation around the fiend god ruins. Then you can refine the entire fiend god ruins. Xiaoping nodded. The only thing that could stop the hell of the green lotus hell from refining the fiend god ruins was the fiend god ruins' own restrictive array formation. It was a divine restriction refined by the fiend god. Although it had been countless eras and the restrictive array formation was already in tatters, it was not something that the hell of the green lotus hell could refine. Only by destroying all the restrictive array formation around the fiend god ruins would the hell of the green lotus hell be able to refine the entire fiend god ruins. At this moment, Xiaoping finally knew what the fiend god ruins were. They were the fragments of hell left behind after the destruction of the previous hell epoch. These fragments of hell contained a massive amount of hell's origin energy, and even the fiend god's origin energy. Therefore, it was a huge opportunity for the hell of the green lotus hell. Once it devoured the fiend god ruins, it would definitely be able to ascend to the demonic god plane and control unparalleled origin energy. Destroying these restrictive array formations is actually easy. Xiaoping activated the hell's golden crow's eyes. His eyes could see through all the illusions in the world. Destroying these divine restrictions was probably a difficult task for ordinary demons. But for him it was as easy as flipping his palm. As long as he could find the nodes of the array formations, he could easily destroy them from the inside. Moreover, the fiend god ruins had experienced the passage of countless years, and had also experienced the destruction of hell. It was already in tatters and there was no way it could be compared to its peak. Therefore, it was even easier to destroy these divine restrictions. But before I destroy these divine restrictions, I still need to get rid of all these evil spirits and fiend gods. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. That was because once the restrictive array formations were destroyed, all the evil spirits and fiend gods hidden within the fiend god ruins would swarm out. They would roam around the hell of the green lotus, wreaking havoc and causing carnage. Although the restrictive array formation sealed the fiend god ruins, it also sealed the evil spirits and fiend gods. This was to prevent these monsters from escaping and causing the lives of the people to be plunged into misery and suffering. Therefore, if he wanted to refine the fiend god ruins, he had to get rid of these evil spirits and fiend gods first. But for Xia Ping, this wasn't a difficult task. It was just a waste of time. Let's begin. Xia Ping's figure flashed, and he began to sweep through the primordial hell cities within the fiend god ruins. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. Xia Ping swept through the fiend god ruins. He discovered that there were a total of 129,600 hell cities within the fiend god ruins, which matched the number of 1 yuan. The hell cities discovered by the invincible devils were only a relatively small portion of it. But with his full strength, all the evil spirits and fiend gods in the hell cities were sucked into Gaia's avatar's internal space, and all of them were imprisoned. It could be said that after sweeping through so many hell cities, he had captured hundreds of billions of evil spirits and fiend gods. This was a rather terrifying number. Fortunately, Xia Ping was very cautious. He did not recklessly destroy the restrictive array formations of the fiend god ruins. If these evil spirits and fiend gods were to escape, no devils would be able to survive in the entire hell of the Green Lotus. It would completely turn into a dead zone. Of course, under Xia Ping's sweep, these evil spirits and fiend gods were no longer a threat. They were all imprisoned in the internal space of Gaia's avatar. At this moment, the internal space of Gaia's avatar had undergone an earth-shattering change. It was as though it had transformed into a terrifying land of ghosts and demons. Resentment, darkness, hatred, fear, corrosion, curses, slaughter, and other auras pervaded the place. Some of the fiend gods were even refined by Gaia's avatar, turning them into dark continents. Countless evil spirits and fiend gods wandered on these continents. As for Gaia's avatar, it was unprecedentedly powerful. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.